I always thought that was the. Oh,
Reporting to you with no bias.
oh.
Informing you with no exceptions. Nothing but the facts. Let's get the truth together. We the people. We the voice. We the news now.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Roxanne, the Globalist Denier. You're here with myself, 007, and two wonderful guests that have been wonderful enough to join us this evening to talk to you about what's really going on internationally. Myself, I'm talking to you from London. 007's talking to you from Tenerife. We've got Noel with us this evening, who's coming to us from Malta, and we've got John, who's coming to us from Israel. We're going to get into where you guys are at and what's happening where you are in a minute. I want to thank everybody for holding on and waiting for us to go live. You've been absolutely wonderful being patient there in the chat room. And I will get to you all in a second. If you've got any questions as we're going through, please pop them in the chat room with a question mark and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. There's a lot going on internationally and I want to delve into that right now. So, Double, if you're all right, I'm going to introduce our guests for today. I'm going to start down below me. Thank you, Noel, for joining us. How are you doing there in Malta?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I finally caught up on sleep from a very long weekend of work, so I'm probably the best you're going to catch me this week.
Nice. And I know you're a bit of a daddy call. You're a parent. You've just got your little one down, and so I greatly appreciate you taking the time to be here and getting.
I wouldn't be surprised if she normally gets up once, so I may have to run away at some point. But yeah, hopefully you've got me all night.
Not a problem. And John, there from Israel. Where exactly in Israel did you say you're from?
I'm in a city called Haifa. It's in the north. It's a port city, a nice city, and that's where I'm located.
Fantastic. So we've got various different places internationally just now. There's a lot, as you guys may know, that is going on just now. You guys in the chat room, you may have heard there's COVID-19 going on. There's a bit of an international madness going on. But I'd like to let you guys know where our guests' points of view are coming from. So if it's all right with you, Noel, could you indulge us and give us a brief synopsis of your pursuit of truth? Where did your first rabbit hole happen? Where did the first rabbit hole start?
I'll go slightly before my first rabbit hole. The first time I heard stuff that was so insane that I experienced cognitive dissonance was when I had my studio in Wales. I had a business partner who was quite a bit older than me. His father was an army general, and according to him, he was a 33rd degree Mason. Now, I didn't even know what the Masons were, and I didn't know what 33rd degree meant. I'd never heard any of that talk before. But every time he'd sit down, he'd light up a joint, and he'd start talking about random stuff, and I'd usually sit there and be like, because I was always polite. I never really told anyone to piss off or shut up or whatever. I'd always keep my dissonance internally. But he said all this crazy stuff. And I think within a couple of years of that, I'd seen Loose Change and Zeitgeist and all these other films, which had sort of introduced me to other things which I didn't really think were even possible. And I suppose that started my eyes to be open. And that was really enough, because then I was working in London looking after VIPs and what have you, and usually at parties where they would get very inebriated and lots of things would come out of their mouths, so I'd always hear all kinds of weird things, and again I just sit there and go, oh really, yeah.
Oh right, yeah. Oh, how interesting. That kind of thing, like passive. But
slowly all these things start to reinforce each other, and you're like, some of these things started to sound really true. And I think that just opened me up enough to go hunting for things, and I quite enjoyed listening to things that sound like they're complete nonsense. Complete nonsense is how I became interested in the flat earth community. It's how I became interested in the, NASA never went to the moon and all these other things. And initially, and for a long period, I thought it was nonsense. But slowly over time, once your cognitive dissonance wears away, you start to realize there's a lot of truth in here. And also you get to recognize what people who are telling the truth look like and what liars look like. And once you're at that point, it's like the world crumbles around you and you can just see lies everywhere. And certainly in what is projected to us, what is presented to us, without us requesting it, that I just see nothing but lies there now.
Yeah, it's like the veil
And
starts to fall, isn't it? It's like it just starts to
the
crumble.
perfect description. The veil falls. You look behind the curtain. You see the little man on the stool, activating the big monster, and you're like, "Wow, this is how the world really is."
Yeah. So what happened next? What happened next?
Well,
Did you follow the white rabbit, or did you stumble across a few holes? Did you start, going down?
I went really deep on Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm. No worries. I think we're having a little bit of a connection issue. No, stay with us. No, we're just having a tiny little bit of a connection issue. If you can hear me, bear with us. It's okay. We have technical difficulties sometimes. This is what we've got to love about live streaming.
Yeah.
No, if you can hear us, we're having a bit of a connection issue where it's going a bit choppy and your picture's just frozen. So I'm going to try and bring him back in. And we've got no camera. So that's all right. He'll come back in. He's in Malta right now, so I'm not sure how strong his connection's going to be. So as soon as Noel comes back in, we'll add him back into the stream. So what we'll do in the meantime is we'll move on to you, John, until Noel comes back in. So as we know, hold on, he's here. Hopefully he's back. Yep, you're back.
I don't know what. No, I'm
this is the love about live streaming. No, it's not a problem. Me and Rich go through this all the time, even when we're not live. Guys, thanks for bearing with us in the chat room. We were talking about you finding rabbit holes, or did you stumble across them? What's brought you to here now?
So here now was okay. So Marley's mother was also quite into conspiracies, but she had decided she didn't want to. I feel ill if I don't search for truth, and the thought of living a lie makes me feel very, very. That really pushed us apart, but I was going for it. I really wanted to know everything. I was even watching things that I were positive were lies, just to see, to understand the lies. But when at one point we'd had a fight and she called me a flat earther, and I was so deeply insulted that I went on that 2-week search that everyone does when they think it's the most stupid thing you've ever heard of, and then you come out the other side like, oh my god, I think the world might be flat.
Warped. Exactly. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. No, I think we can genuinely all relate to that. You end up just diving.
That's one thing
straight
you know
in.
About every flat earther. You know that they've been through that moment where, like, I'm going to prove this is all rubbish, and then oh no, this is the big lie.
And so you dived in. You obviously couldn't prove to yourself that you were living on what the ministries of education taught you. You've obviously come to the conclusion that you've been lied to in some of the most horrendous ways mankind's come to understand. I
was already definitely in the position of we were always being lied to. Now I am actually probably happier than I've ever been, because there's one real advantage to knowing that everything is a lie. Is you're like, well, at least everything that's been crap has kind of been out of my control. Like, it was meant to be terrible. It's not like trying to make a life for yourself and constantly failing is because you don't deserve it. We live in this world where we're just supposed to be these brain dead hamsters on treadmills, and that's what's expected of us. So this constant grinding we feel with what we want reality to be and how it actually is probably a result of that. So I'm actually pretty content now.
Perfectly put, Noel. I've found so many people. I don't know about yourself, John, or 007. So many people I've spoken to since coming to the actually, instead of saying it like this, instead of coming to the truth, when they discover what lies they've been taught and what they've grown up with around them that's been a lie, it seems to be somewhat of a weight that's lifted. Once you've gone through the initial, knee-jerk 2 weeks of hellishness, of going up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to look for some kind of supporting evidence that what you've been taught is not a lie. Once you get past that, I feel that people do genuinely have this happier outlook on life. Double-O, John? I mean, do you agree?
Agree totally. I started with in 2009 with 9/11, and initially it was the subject was introduced to me by Alex Jones. Well, we all have our opinion about Alex Jones today. But back then it was a gateway that he opened for me, and as especially for an Israeli to learn about 9/11 is quite shocking and disturbing. When I'm living in a country where there are real things that happening to people. However, this event was definitely manufactured and staged, and so after that, it took me quite some time to get to the moon landings, Apollo, and I was a fan of science fiction for all my life. So, being a Star Wars guy, and he's suddenly, and I'm not even talking about flat Earth. I'm talking about the Apollo. It was like I didn't even want to. But then I realized that it was a lie.
It's like you were holding on to it, going like this, going, I do not want to let go of you. I've loved you my whole life, my baby. Wow.
The association was with science, and science to me was pure and all facts, and it was the biggest achievement of mankind. Wow. And we're going to explore. So, and then, but I learned the truth eventually, and before I became a flat earther, and I even got to know Bart Sibrel, the guy who chased the astronauts, and
I think pretty much all of us are quite familiar with Bart Sibrel, and a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. I think we all remember watching him get decked.
so he's a personal friend of mine.
Favorite red pill. Oh, sorry. I was just saying that's my favorite thing to give to people who think that everything's nonsense. I'm like, just watch that, because it's.
Do you know what? That is
fascinating, because it doesn't come across as something that's debunking the moon. It comes across as something that's like, look at this weird little interesting thing, and by the end of it, you're like, oh my god, we didn't go to the moon.
Exactly. It is. It's a favorite red pill of a lot of people. And did I just hear you say you're pals with him? Is he your pal?
He's a good friend of mine, and we became friends, and we actually are doing some kind of a project together.
Interesting.
But I'm not. I don't want to talk about it right now. But he's not a flat earther. Even though we talk a lot about the subject, and he's finding it very difficult, and he's not accepting it. But that I respect that. I respect that. But I think, well, I don't want to talk about him. I'm just talking about
everyone's on their pursuit of truth at their own rate, and they're coming to things in their own time. And I feel that we're all understanding that we can't force those that aren't ready yet. They'll come to it in their own time.
Right. And eventually about late 2015, I was introduced to the flat earth. Back then, there wasn't so much materials, that there were many open questions about it. And over time, over the years since then, I think, and despite the censorship that is going on, and now anybody who types flat earth on Google or YouTube will find crap mostly. But despite that, we have today more answers and more experiments and things and answers to the questions we had. And now we can answer those who are questioning us and thinks we are crazy. And I thought that for me, it was really the craziest thing, of course, all of us. So, but in the end, you just get it.
Yeah, this is true. Can I ask you both, Noel and John, what is your social circles like? How awakened are your social circles? Do you have issues talking about these subjects with your friends, family, work, in your lives? Noel, I'll start with you. How difficult are you finding this to navigate with your friends and family? Are they pretty open-minded, or?
My mom is very religious, so in some ways the talk is easy. Unfortunately, my mom is quite difficult to converse with. She's an incredibly intelligent woman in regards to mathematics and her knowledge of the Bible.
Yeah. So she doesn't suffer fools gladly. She genuinely doesn't suffer fools gladly. Yeah. Yeah.
Her conversational awareness is quite strange. I find I'm very rationally. I run on atheist programming, like atheist programming, but I've come to the realization that was a trick. But I'm still very much. I still approach things like an things with this methodical approach to trying to understand things. So in that sense, I get on better with my dad, who thinks it's all nonsense. But I have made him over 3 years. We live in planes going over, spraying something, whatever they're doing. I said to him, listen, just look at the difference between these ones that go over and the trail disappear, and it just keeps on growing and growing. Wow, they don't like me today. I'm being grabbled.
So we haven't lost your audio. We just briefly lost your lost your picture, but we did keep your audio there. We just about kept your audio. They're on to us. The little cheeky monkeys are on to us now. The cheeky monkeys are definitely having their wicked way. They obviously know that you've got some serious red pills to talk about tonight. Even if you don't know what you're about to say, they obviously do, and they're going right. Yeah, well, we'll just keep scrambling it. Yeah.
They definitely don't like the fact we've got four different nations. Although, like, technically 3 of us are English, we've only got one guy actually from a different demographic. But that we're actually residing in 4 different countries.
Yes. Yes.
This is unity. They don't like
1, 2, 3.
And it tells one thing: the truth gets everywhere. The truth gets to any place.
It finds its way through one way or another. I feel like the truth is a force of nature, and it won't be stopped. People are going to have these conversations whether they like it or not. And the one thing I really wanted to shine a light on with my channel initially was conversations that are socially accepted and public, so that people can keep seeing examples of people talking about these subjects that are somewhat tentative with people in a calm manner where no one gets heated, and these subjects aren't talked about by people. I think we've come away from people thinking that people like us are people that wear tinfoil hats, that are lunatics and not contributive members of society.
I thought that myself, but before I started to realize I was one of these people, and I was like, well, I'm not like that, so maybe no one else is.
Exactly. It's only when you start walking the mile yourself, right, you start going, well, hold on, I'm coming across people like myself here. How much is to be said of that? There's a lot of people like us that are in the chat room. A lot of them I've met firsthand in real life. A lot of them have come to Speaker's Corner. I've been to some events that I've met some of these people at, and I can all vouch for the fact that, they're pretty much normal, average people like myself. We're not weirdos. We're not nutters. We're not, extremists that have extreme thoughts. We've just questioned what we've been taught is fact and found it not to be true. And as a result of going against the narrative, there's a social knee jerk that happens. And I think that's that, you yourself, you probably, both of you, all of us, everyone in the chat room, how many times have you had a programmed response from someone when you're just trying to talk to them about,
I had it. Sorry, Karen, please.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I had programmed responses when I first, debated people on flat Earth back then, and I was like, I had my own, cognitive dissonance against it, and I totally understand the people who are not getting it. So,
but I've seen the pictures. It's a ball.
That's it. There was a brilliant example with John Smith Globeli, and he said, "Why do you believe it? Why do you believe it?" And she went, "I've seen pictures, silly. There's pictures of it." But she really looked at him like, "You absolute nutter! They've got pictures of where we live, you idiot!" And she just stormed off with her kind of programmed thoughts, and it was like, cognitive dissonance much. But she really that'll
resonate with her one day. One day she'll be like, "Oh, I remember. I stormed off with this guy. I didn't realize what he was asking me."
No, and I think we can all relate to that feeling of having complete trust in the images. I remember the big ball image at school when I was at school. All the textbooks, it wasn't taught to me like it was a model. They didn't say, this is our best guess. Here's a model, and we think this is where we live. They went, this is definitely where we live. This is where we live. Program, propaganda, CGI.
The thing is that even our teachers didn't know that they are actually deceiving us. They thought this is fact.
They just got taught it.
They were bringing.
I think that's important. I think that's an important thing to remember, that they were only teaching us what they were taught.
Yeah. Yeah, my banner says it actually in the top left-hand corner. They were just teachers that were taught about fire-breathing flying dragons that then taught another generation about fire-breathing flying dragons. They're just, we were all there as well. I thought I knew a lot as well. I thought I knew so much. I passed my GCSEs. I was academically astute. I knew a lot of stuff. And then I went, no, I don't. I just know what I was taught. Mug.
The difference is, I think, between now and a long time ago, and the shame, what's been lost, is that it used to be the community that educated the child. Right?
Now we hand over the child to another ministry. Yeah.
A whole village would bring up a child. It's the whole village's responsibility to program that child to be a functioning member of society within that village. And that's been, like you said, that's been completely taken away. And just the ability to educate or discipline your child has been completely removed from all the parents. Well, not completely, but they've done their best.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, I've got a few subjects that I wanted to roll through with you because there's going to be a lot of people watching that have not seen you before. I want to double share the link for how he met John. I'm going to let you all know. I first met Noel on Instagram. I followed him on Instagram. You literally are part of the meme war. I do think there is a war going on of memes, and there are digital soldiers like us that are doing it on a daily basis. Shout out to everybody that's on the old face ache. I struggle with face ache. It does make my face ache after a while. I grimace that much that it ends up going into that position, and then I end up getting a headache. But I am on Instagram a lot. I find the platform much easier to use. And I find the outreach a lot more. I feel that the censorship is, we all know about the shadow banning on Instagram, but I feel like I'm able to navigate better.
They don't know how to deal with memes. They memes get past it.
They do. They really do, especially.
It really showed up with all those Epstein ones. It'd be like, sort of inspirational quote. And by the way, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah. Holding that attention all the way through, and then just a little precursor at the end. And you drew me in with your memes because your memes were brilliant, very, very powerful, and doing what a lot of us doing, going on to, other people that we're following, and everyone's constantly sharing everybody's stuff to try and get it out there. And it's a little bit like what I do at Speaker's Corner, just trying to circumnavigate And because of that, the truth is getting into absolutely every single orifice. I know I've met people in person at Speaker's Corner that have come across other flat earthers and globe deniers that are prominent in the community, have downloaded apps, have listened to podcasts, all due to Instagram, not YouTube. There's some people that are, shout out to my Maria 777. She's prolific on Instagram. Accredited herself. She's, got a legal degree behind her, and boy, oh boy, is she awake to so many things, and so proactive in giving helpful, informative information through all of her channels on Instagram. So I do want to shine a light on the fact that people are doing outstanding bits and pieces on Instagram. They're on IGTV. They're doing as much bits and pieces as a lot of people are here on YouTube. And I just wanted to shine a light on that because there's a lot of people that I've connected with on Instagram, a lot of amazing, wonderful people. Shout out to Mr. Artwork. You know who you are. Won't say any more than that, but you're an amazing individual. Thank goodness you're on the truth side. There are lots of people.
If you're talking about who I think you're talking
about.
You
are. Yeah, I am. There are a lot of people that are under the radar. And I want to give a shout out to you because you're holding prominent positions in life and you're keeping quiet until the right time. And I don't think anyone realizes how much the silent majority is out there. There's some of the silent majority that are having to keep their lips stum in certain situations so that they don't lose the ability to keep the roof over their head. It is that finite for some people. And for those of us that can put our head above the parapet like this, they're behind the scenes communicating with us going, thank you for doing what I can't yet. Do you remember him saying the operative word here is yet, not never, yet. I just can't do it yet. I know we're not on a
critical mass.
I know they've lied to us about this. I know this. I know 5G. I know that vaccines are bad. I know this, but I can't say anything yet. But thanks to people like you guys, we will get there one day. And you guys means hundreds of thousands of people. Hello, Chichi. Is that your little Chichi? Oh, I saw Molly playing with the cat the other day on Instagram. So sweet. Oh, look. Everyone's pets loves to get on in YouTube. My dog, your cat.
She's batting my feet, so.
Shout out to the chat room from Noel's cat over there in Malta. Maltese cat saying hi. Hello, darling. Hello,
Rescued Maltese street cat. Say hello.
Oh, love it. Shout out to the rescued pets. Shout out to the rescued pets. Love it. I'm going to get into the chat room, guys, because the chat room's had lots of lovely things to say. And I do want to remind everybody, we are going to get stuck into the nitty gritty shortly. I want to remind you guys, if you have any questions for myself, John, Noel, or Double, please pop them into the chat room, put a question mark at the end, angle it to whoever you want the question asked to. And as we're going through topics, you may want to pick up on something that someone said and get them to emphasize more. And I want to be as helpful as I can to all of you as possible. So the next topic I want to go through is, I'm gonna save the worst for last, not the best for last. I'm gonna save the
Sorry. By the way, you were asking about how do we share this with our families?
Yes.
So I got my uncle, my and his daughter. How do you say in English, the daughter of my uncle?
Niece, your niece.
My niece, yes, exactly. Both of them are definite. They don't believe the moon landings at all. So at least we got there. So
yeah, that's one step on the path.
But they take it slowly. So
that's what? I think some progress has got to be better than no progress, even if it's baby steps. Even if I feel like the wheel may move slowly to begin with, but as long as it's starting to turn. Hey, Alfie. Richie's dog saying hi to everybody. My dog's not feeling on top form at the moment. Actually, he's having a little sleep. Yo, Alfie.
Oh, hey.
Oh, Alfie, cool. Alfie. And my dog looks quite similar to Alfie, but he's down there sleeping just now. He may come up and pop up and say hey.
This is the point where the animals are much cleverer than us because they all know we're not on the ball.
Yes. My dog actually doesn't like balls. He breaks them.
Alfie hates balls, man. He bursts every ball he comes across.
He loves every other toy, but not balls. No balls.
Alfie loves balls. He doesn't like giving them back to you, but if you throw them for him, he loves chasing after them and trying his best to burst them.
So to close it down with the family and friends aspect of it, I think it's fair to say, like we were saying, I think for the wheel to start moving instead of not moving at all, I think the less mundane conversations that we can all have, the better. Because I feel that mundane conversations now are just a pointless, futile waste of time. And time is probably the greatest commodity in life. It's the one thing we can't get back. We can get more or less everything else back. But if we're going to stand there for 20 minutes and have a conversation with someone, do you feel that sometimes works into some of the isolation that people go through? Because there seems to be a little bit of a backtracking in some people's lives. They tend to not go into situations where they're going to come up, as loggerheads amongst their friends and families. Some people are already being policed by their friends and families and told not to bring up said certain conversations. And then some people feel a bit restricted with that. And they're saying, well, now as a result, I kind of decline going here and I decline going there. But then there's the flip side and there's people that go, no, I'll take that as an opportunity to try and... How are you guys dealing with that? I'll start with you, Noel. Sorry, Dad.
You can start with John. It's fine.
Go on, go for it, John.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So as far as work, I was careful not to raise subjects like that. I was working for 20 years for a few high-tech companies here in Israel. And now I have my own startup. So this is the logo of my startup for a gaming application, but we're not going to talk about that.
I do like the number 7. I do like the number 7.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
And so at work, I wasn't. I did like to raise questions and ask tough questions that people were like, okay, like when I got to flat Earth, I was like asking about so if a plane is going around a ball, how many kilometers do we need? I mean, what is the rate of moving down the nose of the plane to compensate for curvature? And
I think word on the street is it's about 9 degrees every 1,000 feet or so. It's got to dip its nose to be going over the curve.
Nobody really knows the answer.
Yeah, it's the numbers that worry me, and the numbers, they all seem to stem from that radius, that magic radius number that we've all been given by the Ministry of Education.
So anyway, with my family, maybe a bit here and there, but basically these are things that you need to find people with open mind, and you can find them online. And
Yeah,
for example, I met Near, that was
lovely. Yes,
yeah.
we love Near. We love Esh News. Shout out to Esh News. I saw him earlier on in the chat room as well. Shout out to Near.
Right. And other people like him, and I discovered many people here in my country, and so these are the best people to talk to, and eventually, but so
the community is expanding, isn't it? It is expanding.
I feel like that, yeah. And there are many people who are not willing to be outspoken about it, but they are thinking about it and processing it. The more we show that we can show our faces and talk about it freely, the more they will perhaps be encouraged to do it.
I agree. How about you, Noel? Yep, you're on mute. It's okay. I do that sometimes too. It's not a problem.
No, sorry. My mistake.
It's not a problem.
I said that I used to work around a lot of sort of, let's say, celebrities, well-known people from time to time. So I got really good at telling people what they want to hear, whilst at the same time directing conversation towards interest. There's a lot of things you don't know if you can say, and people like that tend to be very sensitive. So you have to be really careful to try and maintain them as a client or a contact or what have you. So I got quite good at that early on. This was sort of a period when I listening. I can't live. Started talking again. I lost a lot of friends very quickly, and I had to readjust my methods. That said, I have now a whole bunch of new friends, and some of the old ones coming back to me because things I said to them 2-3 years ago are now resonating as truth to them, and now they want to talk again. I myself went and apologized to the guy who posted once you go flat, you never go back. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago on Facebook. And I was like, no, mate, it's a CIA trap to make all the conspiracy theories look stupid. And I went and sent him an apology. I was like, yeah, sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, it's funny the come around, isn't it? It's like we all go full circle, because I ridiculed it to begin with. I completely wrote it off for that very reason. I said, listen, I haven't just done a load of research into Nibiru, FEMA camps and all of that for you lot to come along with a pizza dish and be like, this is where we live. This is just ludicrous now. You've just made us all look like nutters. But then I got past the psyop of the Flat Earth Society and went, oh, it's about the globe being a lie. I get it. I get it. We've been taught a lie. You lot were trying to push some next agenda that made everybody not take the subject seriously, because then no one would look behind the curtain. And I got it.
That's it.
Literally, the penny dropped, and I went.
Once you see that's how it's done, you see that's been it's done like that all over the place.
It's like,
and it's really hard to explain to people.
And you see a magic trick, and you really think it's real. And then, do you remember that program that came out and that went, "We're going to show you behind the tricks, and we're going to show you how
the guy with the silver mask."
The Yeah,
with
I remember.
the guy Mitch Pileggi, whatever his name is, the guy from
Even though
X
it was
Files.
ruining my life, I watched it regardless as a kid. I watched it. It was ruining my whole facade of the whole magic thing. And then I realized, duped. Yeah, mugged off. Yeah, I fully bought that. It reminded me of that when I came across. I was just like, I can't believe. And then the fire starts burning because you look around and you feel like Neo. And I think a lot of people can relate to
that
this.
Neo feeling is real.
Because everyone's still in the capsules, is kids still being taught the lie and your elder generation dying, not being given the chance to question it. And then you realize, we're all living and dying in this lie. And not, like, wow, if you'd have taught me it as a model, then you would have given me some kind of balanced opposing view and you would have given me the tool to let me question myself. But you've imprisoned my mind. You've properly imprisoned it. And that's where the kind of, you feel like you want justice because a crime's been committed. A crime against your mind. In my mind, that's a crime against nature, human nature. It's human nature to want to question you, not to be given some kind of brainwashing narrative that makes you believe you're on something you're not, So while we're here, I want to give a shout out to all the people that are watching. We've got over 100 people watching just now. And I want to give everyone a shout out in the chat room. We've got Mastodon, Ricardo. We've got Dee Dee, lovely Dee Dee. She was one of the event organisers for the event that was over in Amsterdam for Flat Earth last year. Wonderful event. Shout out to Dee Dee in the chat room. Lovely to see you, darling. JP in the chat room as well. Tomasino in the chat room. Disarrayed in the chat room. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see all the new names as well. The Astral Thief. Lovely to see you. Yet another person I've met at Speaker's Corner. Great guy. Jane of Torquay, wonderful to see you. Ute in the chat room as well. Michael Kilpatrick in the chat room. First Munch in the chat room, lovely to see you. And Globebusters is in the chat room. Lovely to see you too. Ooh. Cheers for all of your interactions in the chat room as well. Paul Dog Bear, lovely to see you too. Martin Ellen.
Always love a bear.
Yeah, we all do. Amanda Panda as well. Pardon?
Yeah, just wanted to say about Globebusters, excellent channel for any flat earther.
Well said.
Very, very quality discussion.
Globe tonight.
Just regarding the coronavirus, since this whole thing is not yet totally clear. There was something discussed maybe yesterday or the day before that I didn't quite agree with, but regarding flat Earth, it's the best, and Jeranism, of course.
They've done busted that globe to bits. They've blown the globe up. They've torn it to shreds. System failure as well. And King K Yin Ray. I'm hoping I'm not mullering these names as I'm saying them. Major Facepalm. Cheers to you too, Georgie Boy. Lunderground, another one I've met at Speaker's Corner as well. Voynich, Matrix Media as well. Steve Bally in the chat room. Jude, my darling, lovely to see you. I think I saw Coffee Paul in there as well. Lovely to see you both in the chat room. TYY, Reverend Hull in the chat room. Amanda Panda 69. Sorry if I'm repeating any names. I'm just going quickly further up the list.
Steve Bailey.
My way. Steve Bailey as well. Michael Healy, Dave Mordy, Rasta Bear is in the chat room.
Matrix
too.
Media.
Lovely jubbly. Me too. Tracy Butler as well. Fast Eddie Flathead in the chat room as well.
Dave Paul. I went to go and have a look for that Wycliffe or whatever that that channel you said, and the only channel that I could find was in Italian or something. So all of the other channels were small. So they're either shadow banning the channel, or I got the name wrong. I don't know. Sorry, mate. I had a look.
No worries. And for those in the chat room regarding Speaker's Corner, not a problem. I'm still going to go the first week of April, so long as the social distancing. We are going to get into that whole aspect in a bit. As long as the social distancing is not a problem, I will still go to Speaker's Corner on the first weekend of next month. Failing that, I've decided to go this Sunday. I put an advert out on my community section. So if you want to have a look on the community section, I put all of the details there. If you want to look on my Instagram, Roxanne the Globalist and I, all the details are there as well. I'll be there this Sunday live streaming from midday onwards. That's London, Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park, from midday onwards, talking about all of these subjects. So if you want to get there and you're within reach of London, come on down. From midday onwards, you'll be more than welcome. If you want to get on with the conversations, you're more than welcome too. If you want to kick back and just have a coffee and observe and maybe schmooze around and get into conversations that you want, and you don't particularly want to be on camera, just come up and let me know, and I will do my best to keep you off screen as much as possible. I will just let you know, if you're not really keen on being on camera, just have a look at some of the speakers corner footage. There's hundreds of people there with cameras. So, I mean, you might not be on my camera, but you'll probably be on about 150 other people's cameras.
If you're walking around London, you're on camera.
Can I just ask something? No. The chat that you're looking at and behind you.
Yeah.
On your screen there.
Yeah, the magnetism guy.
I'm subscribed to him.
He's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
I don't necessarily,
man.
Yeah,
I don't agree with everything he says.
No, not me, but he definitely knows more about magnets than me, so I follow him and I try to.
And light as well. He knows about light, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He knows quite a lot about
and
light.
Eric Dolan, is that his name? Eric Dolan? I forget his name now. There's a guy. There's a couple of 3-hour videos on him. He's this very reclusive guy who used to be a Navy military scientist. Used to work on the big engines and all kinds of things, and he was the guy they get when they couldn't fix some old technology, and he knows a whole bunch of stuff about magnets, and very fascinating. I'll have to look up his name a minute because I may have that wrong. But yeah, if you're into, I think magnetism is one. You know, if you're still in, I mean, we're all still into science, really. We just know that there's a very large amount of BS in scientism, but science is how we figured that out, by using scientific method to realize that there's nonsense, that most of the sciences are not actually sciences. Shout out to
it's ironic, isn't it? It's really ironic. Yeah. Beautifully ironic.
Science proves science to not be science.
Just to get back to someone in the chat room real quick, I will keep everyone abreast of any events that are going on across the UK. I do know that the Global Eye University tour is about to kick off, and when I get more information on that, I will share that information, and I'll make sure that that's always in the description. They're going to kick that off pretty imminently, so stay tuned for information on that. And if there's any meetups, I'm going to let you know. I'm trying to get one sorted up in Manchester. So again, just stay posted and I will let you all know. Depending on how this social distancing, again, we've saved the worst for last. Because it's just
the university thing. What is that? The university.
Okay, so the Global Eye Tour has done 2 tours, very successful tours, gone around the UK, gone around Europe. But the next stage is to get into the education system. So we're going in truth is hammering on the door of universities. So yeah, it's all in the making, and it's about to kick off. So please stay tuned for more information on that, and we'll keep you up to date. And I will try and share as much information, live streams and everything as possible. So yeah, and for any events that are going on across the north of the UK, my dad lives in Glasgow. Depending on how this social distancing goes, I don't mean to keep saying it all these times, but they really are pushing it. They are pushing it. They are really pushing it. So I'm really
men
not
as the
sure.
enemy, do not approach or communicate with anyone. It all seems very agendery, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time. And as I said to the chat room, that's something we're going to get into shortly. But before that, as I said, I'll just say there, Glasgow, my dad's up in Glasgow. My dad's a massive globe skeptic. I had him on Iron Rail Media with Adam and the gang. And he spoke to everyone briefly on there.
And he's a bassist.
Yeah, he is.
Best one in the band. Recording studio guy. I always got on with the bassist and the drummers. He was the guitarists and singers I had a problem with.
So yeah, my dad's up for doing something up in Scotland. Dolly and I have been talking about doing something in Manchester, so please stay tuned. And for anyone who's wondering about what's going off the west coast of Africa, later on this year, we're going to try and get something set up over in Tenerife as well, as there's some massive observations to be done from there. So we'll stay tuned with that. And to everyone that's still communicating in the chat room, thank you so much for everything you're doing in the chat room. It's awesome to see. The next thing I want to talk about just now is 5G, because there is a lot of talk. I want all your questions, comments in the chat room. I will try and share as many of your comments into the conversation. If you feel like you've got 2 cents worth to add into this conversation, throw it in the chat room. I'll get it on the screen and I'll get it pumped into the conversation. 5G, guys, top, middle, or bottom? Who wants to go first? Where do you stand on 5G at the moment? How do you think it's affecting what's going on? Do you think it's got any bearing on this disinformation thing about COVID-19? No, I'll start with you.
May I?
Yeah.
So, not a scientist, starting with that. And there aren't a lot of people who you would maybe call scientists still working, talking about this. Scientists don't seem to say anything, but people who have scientific backgrounds are, and I'm sure anyone who's any kind of new age background will know that resonance is a thing. Certainly, a microwave works because the frequency of the microwave resonates the water molecules in your food, and that's why your food gets warm. I believe it's 60 gigahertz. Is that right for 5G?
I think so.
Is the same resonant frequency as an oxygen molecule, not the atom, but the molecule. Now, I personally have no idea what the consequences of that are, but certainly what a lot of people seem to be saying in common is that the symptoms of such exposures are quite similar to flu symptoms, as well as several other things which I haven't had any ability to check out. They've only just gone live with 5G here, and interestingly, we're just starting to have cases here in Malta. So we're on our 4th case now. Was it four or five?
I believe so. Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's very interesting because everyone was very worried about 5G and saying, there was problems, and there was, things like in Holland, they activated a mast and they killed a flock of birds. And for some reason that made the news, which again, I always wonder when something makes the news, maybe I'm being led down the wrong path, because usually things don't make the news, right?
Mm-hmm. The fact that
then
they
again,
even
sometimes
tell us a narrative, right, is very worrying in its own right.
Yeah, so it's hard to be certain about anything. The person I got the most positive feeling from their reports and investigation was a YouTuber called Dana Ashley, who, if anyone doesn't know, is DANAASHLIE. She has a YouTube page.
I believe someone
she does
just
the whole.
popped that in the chat room as well. That's brilliant. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, she's done a couple of really good videos on it. Well, that feel well researched, at least. I mean, she's coming from the angle of she's an ex-New Ager turned Christian after some very unpleasant experiences within New Age life and California and what have you. And she was always been quite up on the 5G investigations. I think there was a 5G summit that she was actually spoke at last year as well. And her last couple of videos are really good. Whether it's true, I don't think any of us know. No one even knows what's true about China. We don't know if it's 100,000 deaths or 4,000. We don't know what's going on from China. And the videos that are being released from some of the countries look so staged, like they really fit that stage narrative thing, that I really don't know what to think. Certainly here in Malta, people don't seem to be taking it particularly seriously, although there are the panickers, the people who clear out the supermarket shelves and take all the toilet paper for some reason, because that's going to help.
The first thing that's gone. People are fighting over it and all sorts, fighting over it. Instead of just grabbing a couple of bags, people want to buy like 80 to 100 rolls of toilet paper.
This is a country with no fresh water. If you're going to take something, take water. Like, all of our water has to be processed. There is no fresh running water in this country. But people are taking toilet paper. Yeah, toilet paper.
Really?
Ridiculous.
That's really interesting that people are just going to fling toilet paper to the top of their priority list when even water is not a given.
It's the same. It's the same here with the water. We don't have any drinkable water, do we? So it's all it's all bottled. You have to have bottled water, and I have started stocking up.
I've started stocking up on water because that'll be the first thing that'll probably kill you. If there is actually an issue, you die from lack of water long before you die of lack of food. So, and toilet paper. Toilet paper is even further down the list.
Madness. So that's where you're.
Sorry, John.
B-Day, everyone. B-Day.
The 5G aspect of things. There's a lot of people resonating.
Showers,
There's a lot of people resonating in the chat room with what you're saying about 5G. I popped some bits and pieces up onto the screen. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are extremely skeptical. There's a lot of people that think there is a lot of connections between 5G and what's being rolled out just now, the narrative. There's people talking about where they're rolling out 5G as well. So if you haven't looked in the chat room, you're watching on a device where the chat room is not visible, pick up your phone, pick up your iPad, your laptop, take a look in the chat room, because there's a multitude of information going into the chat room just now. And I will get back into the chat room and give you all a shout out. John, what's your take on 5G and its part that it's playing in what's going on just now?
Yeah, for a long time, I was quite frankly indifferent to 5G because I was, for me it was like another 4G evolution. I didn't quite look into it, so, and I knew it was dangerous, more radiation, more stuff, but I never really um, thought it's gonna be. I mean, I let me. It was just another, f- upgrade for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
You
now,
didn't really think much of it. You just didn't think
yeah,
much of it. You just went, right,
yeah,
it's 3G,
I mean,
4G, 5G,
yeah,
it's the next
I
one.
preferred, I preferred to focus on flat Earth
Mm.
and that and not deal with all the other conspiracies that I was going through and learned about. For me, it was just another thing, and yeah, unhealthy, definitely. But now with the coronavirus, the things that we hear about the connection between 5G and the coronavirus are, there is some pattern here. Now, here in Israel, and I was this is a discussion that I was listening on Globebusters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, here in Israel, they haven't yet deployed 5G, but it's about to be deployed. It's uh, totally. I mean, Holon is a smart city. That was is defined as Israel's perhaps top smart city, and it's gonna be there. It's gonna be here in my city. So the plan is there to deploy it and to make it work. So now it appears to me that there is some kind of connection with the coronavirus because some I heard a report about. I mean, there was um, a medical person in Italy where it's big where they close down cities of full cities now.
Mm.
Uh, and that doctor, and he's just a doctor. I don't think he's part of any Freemasons or something like that. And
Mm.
and he's saying what I'm seeing here is really, really, really troubling. So, and it's not what he said. It's not just a normal flu. That's what he said. Then and I can look it up and give that reference. So I made a connection. Maybe the 5G is the thing that, because it was operated and deployed over there, then there is, if it's in a combination with that virus, which and we all know that there was a drill, the event 201 that was in October.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so probably anyway.
No, but like we're saying, there's a lot of information out there about 5G. And I don't think we can take that as a coincidence. I really feel like there's some kind of smoke, and therefore there's a fire somewhere. I really don't think that 5G has been disclosed as some kind of distraction. There seems to be way too many coincidences, too many correlations, too many similarities with symptoms that are popping up. Are we
And
just
the
going to
thing,
take that as a coincidence?
right, and the thing is, even though there is no 5G operating here in my country, they are saying that the number of coronavirus people who are number of coronavirus the spread is increasing still. That's what they say. Of course, we don't have names. I don't know where they live. I don't know what's their Facebook account. I don't know who they are. And by the way, it's all over the world like that. They say
Mm.
it's another 30 people or another person, but they never say the name. They never say who it is.
Are you guys okay if I show you something? It's literally just a few minutes long. It is it's from Russian vids, and I caught a bit of it yesterday, and I thought it
We
would be
love
quite
Russian
good.
vids.
We do. We love Russian vids. So if it's all right with you guys, I'm going to share the screen so
Big
you
up
guys
Russian
should be
vids.
able to see it, and you should be able to hear it absolutely fine with a bit of luck. And I will share the screen and hopefully this will work, she says. Hopefully. Now remember, Roxanne is not a professional. Okay, so she's just going to do her best. Here we go. Right, I'm going to press that.
Good luck.
Share screen. Thank you. I feel I'll need it. Okay, here we go. You guys might want to just turn your mics down for a second.
I'd like to call to order the secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic.
Another example of predictive programming when it comes to The Simpsons, this time from this episode titled A Totally Fun Thing That Bart Will Never Do Again. This was released April 29, 2012. Let's get right to it. Unbelievable how they love to mock the masses. Let's take a look.
This is General William Sullivan with an emergency message. I'm speaking to you from a CDC clean zone. Outbreak of the deadly Pandora virus is spreading rapidly. Unprecedented threat requires a worldwide quarantine. All ships must remain at sea until further. Humanity must endure. A virus? What should we do?
They're buying it. They're buying it.
And that's where the mockery comes in, as always, with Bart Simpson stating they're buying it. And that's exactly what the public is doing right now. You know, so many people are buying into this garbage, this lie coronavirus, even so-called truthers. Unbelievable. Let's continue on here with some more coding, as they always do.
Chillingly plausible indeed, Joe Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal. Now, to make sure no one can call home to check, with a little help from the Make Your Own Sunday Bar.
Now I'm going to pause right here. Again, always coded with that number 33. As you see here, it's an EE, actually 3 E's. But when you flip it around, flip it over, and what do you see? You get your dual 33s. When it comes to Freemasonry, there's also a third 3 as well. So, you know, this is how they do it again with the coding of the order out of chaos. And it's just unbelievable how they put this right in our faces. And a lot of people just want to think this is just some amazing coincidence. And also when it comes to signs and symbols, this is their language with the man hugging the ice dolphin and dolphin being 33 in numerology. So again, very key to understand how these people operate so people can understand and see through the lies. And if this whole episode again regarding this ship out in sea, and what do you have here? Of course, this is happening today with the Diamond Princess cruise in Japan. You know, all the supposed coronavirus victims, and Diamond being 33, as I've shown many times in the past. And also with this one ship, the Grand Princess. Here you see it with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. I've made many videos in the past about the Golden Gate Bridge and a PSYOP that's going to take place with it in the future. We'll see what happens with that. And it's from different news sources showing the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is, again, I said it before, where they give us hints of future events with current PSYOPs. This is very key and very important for people to understand. So look out. You can watch my video on the Golden Gate Bridge predictive programming as well. And currently, supposedly, this ship, the Princess Cruise Line, Grand Princess, is, as you can see here, supposedly just stationed right off the coast of San Francisco. And I want to point something else out as well that I showed before in a previous video with this man named William Smedley with his wife, basically stranded aboard this cruise ship. Again, the Diamond Princess Cruise. basically quarantined. And just take a listen to what is said here. Again, everything is coded.
Families are feeling healthy, but they're being forced to take a lot of precautions. At least 12 Americans are among the dozens on the ship who've been diagnosed with the coronavirus.
We're ready to come home after 29 days at sea, but this is a worldwide crisis and we're stuck in the middle of it.
A 33rd wedding anniversary no one could expect.
Again, the coded 33 with the 33rd year anniversary, wedding anniversary, and also it's kind of hard to see, but you also have, supposedly it was 33 degrees when this was taking place with this news station. Unbelievable. So you have your dual 33s. And of course, there's so many 33s associated with the whole coronavirus hoax. So you have your number 33 with supposedly 33 states now have coronavirus as a ship, again, linked to dozens of cases will soon dock in the U.S. This is regarding, again, the ship, as I showed earlier, with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. Now, let's take a look here with this one man, again, on the Diamond Princess cruise, and his name is David Abel. Let's take a look here at the details with David Abel being a Freemason. And you see here with this photo with inside a Masonic lodge, David Abel. And you get a little bit of a close-up here, and this is him. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the same man. 100%. And also, very interesting, with David Abel being a 33 name. Unbelievable how they're basically fooling the masses, giving us all their signs and symbols, as always in plain sight. And people, they're dead asleep. They're so in love with the lie system, with no hope. And again, they rage, they get upset when we point out these truths to them and all these connections. And they're definitely killing multiple birds with a single stone. Here you have O.J. Simpson. He posted this photo of himself in front of Costco, loading up on supplies, toilet paper, paper towels, all this water, paper cups. This is how they do it. O.J. Simpson's been involved with many psyops. Of course, the O.J. Simpson trial, which I covered before, nothing but a hoax. But again, they're killing multiple birds with a single stone. They're putting fear in the public, pushing vaccinations. It's affecting the stock market. And of course, many, many people are loading up on supplies. You know, the interesting thing is many schools are closing with supposedly 300 million students that aren't in class. Okay, but they leave Costco's open, Walmart's, Target, all these stores, and no precautions are being taken when entering any of these stores. And of course, none of them are closing. So definitely this is a scam in many ways. Again, killing multiple birds with a single stone. And again, it's near impossible to wake up the walking dead of society. Unbelievable, once again, how they're pushing this propaganda on the masses, and the masses, as always, fall for it hook, line, and sinker.
Shout out to Russian Vids. What a cool guy. Massively cool guy. He's put out so much awesome content over the last few years. I know that I've watched his content since about 2013, 2014. He's woken me up to a lot of things. So massive shout out to Russian Vids for making that piece of content. And thank you all to everyone in the chat room that's given me your recommendations for things to look at. I'm going to kind of methodically work through all of those bits and pieces. So thank you to everyone that shared links or given hints and tips for where to go to look at brilliant information. And to all of you in the chat room, pay attention to that information as well. Go and dig yourself, go and have a look at that information. Hope that video wasn't too long. What did you make of that he made? I mean, are we supposed to take all that as a coincidence? Is that just supposed to be some kind of coincidence?
I love the fact that Russian Vids has gone into it even deeper and found one of the one of the passengers on the boat.
Yeah.
Cross-referenced that to the Freemasons, and even he's done some excellent work there. He's very thorough.
Big time. I've popped the link in the description. I've popped the link in the chat room. I'll make sure the link is in the description afterwards. Just scroll up and I'll make sure I keep putting the link just to signpost everyone there. Also to everyone else that's giving me links, if there's things that are conducive, I will show them as the week goes on. So we've kind of touched on that aspect of coronavirus. Now, the real world aspect to this seems to be the lockdown, as myself and Richard have been talking about now for a couple of weeks. The lockdown seems to be the self-evident truth part of this. Today, seeing the entire... Now, I just want to be... I don't want to say the word devil's advocate, but I just want to play the middle here a minute. Has anyone thought that just for there could be how do I say this? What if, let's just hypothetically imagine for a second, what if this was completely and utterly orchestrated by the mainstream media?
The mainstream media are just controlled, so whatever they are pumping up is that, and somebody tells them to pump that up, and so
So today we got told that the entire country of Italy is on lockdown in apparently peacetime we're not at war, or so I think we're not.
What happens right now is unprecedented in the history of many countries. I think not in the history of any country. What happens right? The lockdown, the house arrests. It's a isolation, but let's call it house arrest.
Certainly in recorded history. Certainly in recorded history. This is
in recorded. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Because I mean, is it still voluntary house quarantine in Italy? Because I heard from a lady today whose parents run a business that is now not voluntary. She can't leave.
And here now they announced tonight that they're going to start enforcing the quarantine. Anybody who came back will be mandatory
put in prison,
put in house arrest for 2 weeks. And there are ways they have all the ways to know. The police will enforce it, and they have ways to know by your cell phone or by your credit purchases what are you doing, and if you're violating that thing. And this is
so there's still a certain amount of trust for you to go home once you've, let's say, so you come in from a different country into the train station or into the airport, and you declare yourself and you say, yeah, I'm going to self-isolate, and then you're trusted to go home and self-isolate, or you're escorted back.
I'm trusted. I guess I don't know the procedure 100%, but as far as I understood, you are trusted to go home and stay at home. But now they're going to check that this is really the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing as well. So it's no matter who you are, if you're coming, even if you, like you said, even if you're from Israel, if you went somewhere now and came back, you would have to quarantine for 2 weeks, no matter what, wherever you're coming from.
Yeah.
What's everyone's take on this? Whoever wants to start.
Okay. Is it possible that
I was
the media...
waiting for Noel. Come on, Noel.
I was actually just messaging a friend in Italy to ask her if they're under house arrest. I'm curious. I have a lot of friends in Italy. So.
But this is where I think we the people are going to decipher what's real from fake, Because
Interesting
how many?
point, actually. I've been saying, oh, I'm going to speak to my Italian friend, aren't I? Well, he's from Sardinia, but I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him, actually. I don't know if he's been working. Don't even know if he's been working. I haven't seen any of the Italians.
I agree with Stan as well. Anyone know anyone who's got it? Because today the news told us by the time this is over, we'll all know someone who's died from it. They said that clear as day on the mainstream media today, which shocked me.
Really?
I was like, that's an outstanding thing to say. Yeah.
I think that's BS.
That's
if it was
a
dissident roundup, which I mentioned to you, Roxanne, was my fear.
It
It might be a dissident, people like us who speak too much truth, or what we believe to be truth. It might be a dissident roundup, and if it is that, then yeah, I probably will know people who died of the virus. But I spoke to a lot of people in China who said they didn't know anyone yet. And I spoke to some people in India who said they knew loads of people with the virus, but it doesn't hurt anyone because everyone's got such good immune systems, which, I mean, that sounds believable. But yeah, I still don't really know what to think. I'm deeply suspicious of anything the media says always.
How much would we understand how much is being censored coming out of Italy as well? We've got someone in the chat room who says that they're in Italy, Son Mal. So Son Mal, what's good with you in Italy just now? Are you being told that you can't leave the country? As I said, we're being told that the whole country is on lockdown, so no one gets in, no one gets out. As far as we're being told, there's massive places that are normally extremely busy that just look like ghost towns, or so they say. Again, how much supporting evidence have we got for this? I'm not saying it's a hoax. I'm just saying how much, the
one thing is for sure, we don't know the names of the deceased people. And I find it very strange because if somebody is sick and struggling with that disease, maybe I want to, give him some charity, help him or her, and just come and visit the family or something. I don't know. They don't disclose the names, and that's very, very suspicious.
But what's more suspicious is an infectious disease. When you have someone with an infection, something that has 14 days invisible incubation, but is also can be transmitted. Don't you want to find every single person who came into contact with the person in the 14 days prior to them being taken sick? So you would be broadcasting their name everywhere.
Yeah, there's so many continuity issues. There's so many weird continuity issues, like a movie that's just all over the place.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, in Malta, for example, Noel, how many people now are allowed to assemble?
Well, I literally stood in a crowd of 150 people no more than 5 hours ago to collect my child. The people are behaving a little bit panicky, but they weren't at the school, and the school is obviously the school my daughter goes to is incredibly diverse, is the right word. My daughter's class, there's a couple of Maltese, couple of English, more than a couple, but I'm going to say African, meaning somewhere in the continent, because I don't know what country they're from. There's a lot of Italians, there's a lot of Serbs, a lot of Macedonians, and they all interact. We all interact. We're all side by side. There's no one wearing masks.
Is there any regulation that says no more than 500 people or no more than 1,000?
This has not happened yet, but we literally had our first case on Saturday, so it's early days.
So here it's 5,000 currently, and of course it's coming down. They're thinking about 2,500 already.
So they're limiting congregations of people.
Yeah, assembly, the right to assemble, which is,
that would make sense.
Roxanne, how many are now allowed to assemble in the UK?
Well, this is the thing. I've been trying to decipher what the UK is being told all day. To all my UK counterparts, please tell me if you are just as confused as I am, because the British government seems to be saying on one hand, we delay, no, we contain. We delay, we contain and delay. No, delay and contain, neither nor both at the same time. It's almost like Schrodinger's cat in the box. It's whatever you want it to be, all right? Until you see self-evident proof of whatever this apparently is. I implore anyone from the UK pop your 2 cents worth in the chat room and tell me what you've been told by the UK today, because I'm dumbfounded. Okay, I've got some reports making it out like I'm not going to be able to have freedom of movement in this country within the next 7 to 10 days. And then there's some reports that are just, like I said, whimsical and, you know, saying horrendous things in a whimsical fashion. You know, yeah, you're probably going to know somebody that's died of this by the time this is all over. Just throw that out on the table and cause some more fear mongering and panic. There seems to be pockets still where places they're urging people to not panic buy, yet they're seeing other people on the continent being quarantined in their property for 2 days, and they're seeing other countries having problems with food delivery systems, and they're allowing one person out of the property to go to the supermarket where they're given food like at a night window passed on a stick. However, when you go to search the social medias from those retrospective places, you're seeing that they're getting shadow banned. I can't find them on Twitter. I can't find them on
and
Insta.
and it is a fact that there are pockets of, like in Liverpool, we learned today in Liverpool they've got issues with toilet paper because people panic buying toilet paper. Maybe
they had the manufacturer of
London.
toilet paper in the UK on the news today going, don't worry, we've got this covered. We've got loads of rolls on the go. Don't worry. We'll keep you all stocked. Don't worry, we've got paper for days.
It's still let's just say again how hilarious it is that people are so worried about toilet paper and also buying hand sanitizer when they've been very clear and said that you can wash your hands in cold water. Just do it with soap and water for more than 20 seconds. You don't need these fancy $3.99 a bottle hand sanitizers, you know, that everybody's going nuts over.
Yeah. Stan Smith said in the chat room, don't you think if this was real, that everything would just be shut down as soon as the first person died from it?
Yeah, you notice that plane prices haven't gone down.
Well, they're empty.
Weirdly,
they
oil
are
has,
empty,
but
though.
plane prices,
They're empty.
Apparently, they're completely empty.
This is something.
I mean, Malta's expecting a couple million people to arrive in the next month. So I mean, I don't know what's happening. We did just have 2,000 people cancelled for this Lost and Found festival that Annie Mac organises here. And the organisers of that festival are coming over. I think it's tomorrow to try and talk down the prices of all of the events.
This is where we have the continuity mess up again, right? Because just today we've had them say that they're relaxing the laws that say they've got to do 80% of their flights to keep their slots in airports. So Richard Branson went on record today saying, yeah, I'm literally just putting empty planes up in the sky to keep my slots. And people have taken them to social media. Agreed. Yep, I'll second that. People have taken to social media.
It's quite interesting.
Like on the seats and showing 4 other people on the plane, because the airports are saying, you know, 60, 70, 80.
Sounds like a great time to travel, doesn't it?
Shows. There's even a lady on social media who's traveling on her birthday, and she went, "Why can't flying be like this all the time?" She was like, "I've just wandered in here, walked straight up to the check-in desk. You know, it's like ghost town."
I guess first class now is not much.
Go on, bro. Sorry.
No, as soon as I said Roxanne, my mind went blank.
Sorry.
Roxanne, boy.
Sorry, guys. Go on. Who went there? Who down there spoke?
I remembered. Hang on. I think we should mention as well, Rox, because it's just an interesting coinky dink that we were watching the news for comms. They mentioned the Necker Hospital. And then shortly afterwards, Richard Branson pops up, and he just happens to have
they were standing in Paris outside the university hospital, and he said, yeah, the Necker Hospital up the road. And we went, isn't that one of Branson's island? And then 10 minutes later, Branson came on saying, yeah, I'm just putting empty planes up in the sky. Empty planes, guys, empty planes all over the place. Dodgy.
I just want to use the opportunity to ask you, what's your take on these videos that we received from China about these white, suited people coming to
the hazmat suits
propaganda.
Oh, crikey.
Propaganda.
It felt like propaganda, didn't it?
100% staged. Absolutely 100% staged.
By whom? By the government?
Staged by whom? Deep state?
George Soros, probably.
Soros will have paid for those suits. He'll have paid for them. He'll have definitely funded those suits.
Because from what I see, okay, this is my when I watch those videos, it could be staged, definitely, but I watch those videos of people who are taken forcefully from their homes, and it's like from the behavior, it doesn't look like.
Who else has seen those videos? Has anyone else seen those
The,
Uncle Sam
the
videos?
victims look real,
Yeah.
but it's the camera person part of it that looks fake to me. The fact that there's a camera person sat there framing, waiting, capturing everything, and then
It's a
obviously
handheld phone.
they know who the camera person is because he's with them posting the image online, and then saying, oh, we didn't want this to be released, but it got released. Obviously that was released for a reason. So they're trying to give us the impression that people are being dragged from their homes because of the virus. What's
It looks
actually
a bit
happening?
propaganda-y, doesn't it? It does look a little bit propaganda-y.
Yeah, but who are they? The Chinese government want to show the world, or
whoever's feeding the MSM the narrative. I think that's the puppet behind the show that we're not able to see right now. We're not able to identify that part of the puppetry.
My take on this whole thing that started because we had that 201, which is.
That's what I wanted to ask you all next, the 201, because this seems to be and I noticed that you, Noel, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, John. I just want to chime in on this. I was showing 007 your Instagram, and I noticed that you put up the, you noticed the book. Well, who was the author? Dean
Koontz.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And have you seen this 201? This operation that went down, Bill Gates and the rest of it, 00. I want him to chime in with you, John, here.
Event 201 in October 2019.
The practice for the coronavirus thing.
Everyone seems to have known about this, but it seems to have come back up regarding this now.
It's like we all forget, isn't it? It's like this amnesia that sets in over a couple of days when you get. You know, it's
from our perspective, we consume so much information, and most of it isn't necessarily legit. We have to try and decipher that ourselves. So you're constantly throwing away stuff, but then you speak to someone, and then you want to reference it, but you've already discarded it because otherwise our brains would just be pouring out of our ears.
One of the reasons I think they've deliberately flooded us with so many breadcrumbs. You know, there's so many rabbit holes you can fall down, so many breadcrumbs that you can follow, and it's all this.
They want us fighting with each other.
Those of us, and those of us that are on the path, we're hungry. We're hungry for new information, so we're gobbling it all up, aren't we? We're gobbling it all up, and it's getting.
Now, let's not forget with 9/11. I mean, I would never. All of us investigated 9/11. All of us know that there were drills. Official drills done before 9/11 about the same things that are about to happen. So, so this was definitely something that somebody knew is going to happen. Now, I think, and this is my opinion, that it started by, you could say, the cabal to interrupt Donald Trump and interrupt and maybe it has to do with the elections in the U.S. Something, I don't know. It's not something that started from the good side. Started from the bad side, definitely. That's what I think.
I think it's worth noting, I forget who it was, that I think it might have been Amazing Polly actually that mentioned it in her video, that it was actually Bill Gates was somebody that stated it. He stated something about there was no way that Donald Trump was going to win the 2020 election. And I think he made a reference to.
However, with that said, if we do trust the plan, and we have the people who know about that and know how to and are dealing with it right now, and I guess they are, maybe this whole thing, but we are definitely right now in a situation that was never experienced in this round of humanity, as far as I know. So it's
we're quite lucky. This is an exciting time we're living in now, and we're all quite blessed to be part of it, I think.
I would like to momentarily praise Donald Trump.
The thing is, and as an Israeli, and the thing is that what resonates with me, and that's not a good resonation, and it's something that has to do when I sense all the vibes about this. It, to me, it's like, don't go up on that train because it goes to that place, if you know what I mean. There were people back then who said, don't go up on that train. And so it smells bad.
I think a lot of people are getting that vibe. I like the way you said that. It smells bad. There's something that smells bad about all of this. There's a lot of countries behaving like they've gone to war, yet they're telling us we're in peacetime conditions.
When there's an epidemic or a disease, you can convince anybody to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm just giving an example. They were telling whoever came to the extermination camp, hello, welcome, you came to work here, but there's an epidemic in the camp, so first you'll have to pass through the showers. So that claim of epidemic convinced them. Maybe they knew something is wrong, but they just went with it. So well, that's...
What's your take on it, Noel?
Sorry, my friend just got back to me. Sono in quarantena. I think that means he's in quarantine.
Oh, wow. So that's boots on the ground. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Noel.
It's one line.
I don't want to fearmonger or something. It's just I was just sharing my...
No, thank you, John, because this is what makes this beautiful. Everyone's sharing their perspective on this, and we're not all necessarily on the same page, but we're all seeing this, and the chat room is as well. The chat room have all got their points of view as well. Noel, what's your take on that aspect of it?
Okay, so regards to trying to distract from the Trump train, let's say, I still can't decide where I sit with Trump. I know that I've never been so entertained by American politics, and I'm very relieved it's him instead of Hillary Clinton. I'm sure of that. But are we still watching actors on a TV? Are we still... I mean, we're not even American, none of us. But are we still playing the bipartisan bullshit game? Yes. So, I mean... I can't decide where the dominoes lay, like which domino is higher. For me, Pedogate seemed like it was a way higher stack of dominoes than Trump.
Can I ask you a question, Noel? Do you, if I was to put it to you like this, you're obviously aware of some of the things that the cabal has been up to, and the sadistic things that they've been on. Do you think that he was selected by cabal or non-cabal elites?
I am completely on the fence. My suspicion has always been not the cabal, but at the same time, he had received loans from the cabal in the past, and he's very interlinked with that. Apparently, he's part of the same bloodlines. So this is possibly all theater. I wouldn't want to put money or my life on such a truth. I do like Trump. I mean, I've never been so entertained by it's weird that he's a politician, quite frankly.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with that that I've spoken to. They've never been so entertained.
I was speaking with three young lads, 20, let's say 24-ish, who were hiking here from North Carolina. I met 2 nights ago. And we were talking about Trump. And I said to them, I like Trump and this and that. And they were like, that's a really brave statement. I said, yeah, I'm a brave person. I don't mind saying things that piss people off. But I said the reason I like him is because I have never been able to have so many enlightened conversations with people since his election, because everyone just started to wake up to stuff. Like just him getting in made people realize that maybe the whole system is a joke. And I mean, I wanted him in because I mean, at the time I was a Bernie bro, right? I would have been a Bernie bro. Now I wouldn't be, because I've realized how it's just a socialist scam. But
Yeah.
but you know, I would have been a Bernie bro. That's who I would have voted for. And then as soon as he got pushed out by Hillary, I was like, well, it's got to be Trump, because there's no way we can have Hillary. Because if Hillary gets in power, I imagine people like me and you probably wouldn't be around anymore.
Didn't Hillary go on record to say, if that bleep gets in, we're all bleeped?
Apparently, yeah, apparently. I mean, again, we never know exactly what's true. We're constantly given things. I feel like I always call it bait when someone gives something that sounds too good to be true, like Frazzle Drip. I'm sure you're all familiar with the promises of Frazzle Drip. It's never actually come. I was like, I not that I want to see the video, but I do want it to be true. But it sounds like bait. It sounds like it's something to make a fool of ourselves, so that we can just be called conspiracy theorists and flat lovers and
I do feel
retards that
like
everyone should ignore.
Kind of.
I've got to be quite honest.
Go on, bro.
I've got to be quite honest. In a way,
Always be honest.
I'd be quite glad if Frazzlebait wasn't true. Absolutely not true. It was just complete fiction. That would mean that the world wasn't quite as messed up as we, seem to think it is.
I wonder.
I think we all know that it is, unfortunately.
Today, though, I wonder what they're up to today. They were at a premiere the other day in New York. Oh, mentioning New York, what are the coincidences? Literally within hours of Hillary Clinton and Huma being in New York has now called the National Guard in.
What?
Just in the last few hours. Yeah, check it out for yourself, guys. Go on DuckDuckGo, Google.
I'm on
New
DuckDuck.
York is under a state of emergency.
That's quite interesting.
National Guard
you didn't mention
the place that Hillary Clinton has been seen in public. I think that's quite interesting.
Did we?
Is it her or her?
I don't remember us mentioning that.
No. I had a conversation with another content maker just before we went live, and that was literally just when I was finding that out.
Now, regarding
go for it.
Sorry, just regarding Trump, because the MSN, the mainstream media, was so against him, and still is so against him, all the way. To me, it was a very big sign, and not just the mainstream media, even people in his own party were against him. So to me, and after all the things he did since he was elected, to me it says, and that's my opinion, he's on the good side. He may not be perfect, but he's on the good side. And,
I didn't like him pushing 5G.
Well, yeah,
he's talking about pushing a safe 5G, isn't he? He's talking about pushing a safe 5G.
Is there such a thing as a safe 5G, though?
What is that? You still have to have 60 gigahertz broad transmitters every half a block.
How does a safe 5G work?
Yeah, I mean, it's anything but it's the 60 gigahertz range is the damaging. That's the danger zone, isn't it? So to not be running on that would be the best way. But I think that if anybody does any digging, you find out the military's already taken up the wider bands, of 5G, because the military is already using it.
So what was interesting is the reason that 60 gigahertz is assumed is because it's the unlicensed band. It's always the unlicensed bands that get used for public usage. So 60 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz wasn't licensed, so that became the frequency that mobile phones are using. And now 60 gigahertz isn't restricted and licensed, so that's going to be what they're putting out on now. That Dana Ashley video had all of that actually in quite a lot of detail. Other guys who are quite good, although I don't like their presentation style because it gives me this I'm being lied to feeling, but then the stuff that they say is all stuff that I've heard from people I do trust, so I'm giving them a credit here. Edge of Wonder, have you ever watched their videos?
No, but thank you so much for the heads up.
Very high production value on them, which gave me the suspicions that maybe there's something going on, but they cover everything. Really weird stuff, really wild stuff. They'll go from Bigfoot to 5G. They're all about the conspiracies.
What did you say the name of it?
But they don't mock them.
What's the name?
Edge of Wonder.
Edge of Wonder. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
They're quite good. I've seen a few of them. They found about the Q map from them.
Oh, you see? Okay.
They did a good 2-part special on the Q map, and then I just watched a good 3-part special on the coronavirus, which had a whole bunch of stuff I'd never heard before. Focusing very much on China. Yeah, they basically got translators in to go through all the Chinese stuff and like, confirm that it was actually what was being said because, I mean, who here speaks Cantonese or Mandarins, right?
That's actually something that I mentioned, wasn't it? Was something that we both mentioned, both me and Roxanne, the first video that we watched of the two women in the back of the taxi. And we said we need to be able to actually, we need to corroborate the translation, but even if it does corroborate and it is a true translation, was it a scripted? Trying to decide if it was a scripted staged event or not.
One thing I always noticed when I used to watch foreign movies, I used to watch a lot of foreign movies. I always noticed that child actors were better, and the reason I realized is because I can't understand what they're saying. So I'm seeing their face, and the delivery is in subtitles. So someone can bullshit something to me in a foreign language, and I'm more likely to believe it.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I can relate to that because my daughter, she watches various bits and pieces in foreign language with subtitles up, and I will admit to you, the younger ones are easier to kind of follow than the adults. They just seem more innocent with their idiosyncrasies. It's easier to understand. Before I forget, I want to ask you all a question. I'm going to share the screen just so you can all see what I'm talking about. Ranty spoke to me before I went live, and he's put a question on his community section. I popped the link in the in the chat room for everybody, and I'm just going to share my screen. No need for me to share the sound, so I'm just going to do that now. Pop it there, and I'm going to show you all that. Can you see that, everyone? I'll read it out to you, so long as you can roughly see it. Okay, so it says opinion on the coronavirus outbreak. 6 weeks ago, I started to ask people to prepare. Back then, 90% of my audience thought this was a hoax or a drill. What is your opinion now? Option A. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And if the chat room could give me a feedback on this, and if you could click the link and all go over there and answer the question, that would be great. Press 1 if you always knew it was real and are still sure it is. Press 2 if you always knew it was a hoax or a drill and are still sure it is. 3 if you originally thought it was a hoax, drill, or now feel it's real. 4 if you originally thought it was real and now you feel that it's a hoax or a drill. And 5 if you're still undecided but prepped just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I'll leave that on the screen. So 1 is always knew it was real and you're still sure it is. 2, it was a hoax and you're still sure. 3, originally thought it was a hoax and now you feel it's real. 4, you thought it was real, now you feel it's a hoax. 5, you're undecided but you're prepped.
So I've just voted.
Good job. I'm going to pop the link in the chat room for everybody as well. All you've got to do is click the link and it will take you straight there onto his community section and give it a whirl. And great. So for Ranty, he can see that on a feed. I'm seeing a lot of 2s there. A lot of 2s. Yeah.
2 was always thought it was a hoax and still do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was a 4 or 5 probably because I initially when everyone was like, oh, China are hiding the official numbers and they're like, it's a 14-day incubation. I panicked a little bit because I was like, 14-day invisible incubation. I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy some water and some masks now just in case. I do have masks and I do have extra water because I thought just in case, let's get ahead of this.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing the footage from Iran and other countries. I was like, hang on, I recognize this style of film.
So yeah, there's a lot of different options there for everybody. Thanks for that, Noel. There's a lot of 2s in the chat. There's a 4 and a 5 in the chat room as well. And
I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I voted 5, not because I'm still undecided, because I've not thought it was a hoax or a drill. I think it's a front. But being on this island and being in this little tiny village where I am, I really can't afford to be stuck without water. And there's some bare essentials that I want for myself. So I've started to actually. I've not been panicking, but I've just bought a little bit extra, and I'm going to do that every couple of days. I'm going to buy a bit extra, and hopefully, if there is anything that happens here, I will be well prepared
So
for it. And if not, I'm stocked up for the next month or two.
Yeah, and if your freedom of movement is affected, like Noel's pal is in Italy, it seems that we're going to start maybe not so much hearing that your friend has got coronavirus or our friends and families have got coronavirus, but it looks like we're going to start hearing pretty quickly that our international friends, every which way possible, are starting to be affected, their freedom of movement. We've already had some countries in Europe completely shut down their borders, which is, as we were talking about offline, somewhat unprecedented in peacetime conditions. And this is something that I want to keep stressing. And the international community claims that we're in peacetime conditions, but certain countries are behaving like we're at war, which is what, like I'll repeat, the National Guard's been called into New York. Like, answers on a postcard, please. Like, we're not at war, but
it's a state of war. It's like warlike situation.
It's worth noticing that New York is a blue state.
You see, no coincidences in this either, I think. What's your take on this? Well, I mean, what's your take on the National Guard being called in to New York City? I'll get some details about it while we're talking.
I personally don't have a take on it. I don't know.
No worries. I'll give you. New York has sent in the National Guard as US coronavirus death toll hits 29. Westchester County, New York City has had 108 cases. New York's governor announced today that he's sending the National Guard troops to New York City to help tackle what is now believed to be the nation's biggest cluster of cases. One of the most dramatic actions yet to control the spread of the illness. Listen, just personally, from me to you guys, I'm just letting you know that's the last place that Hillary and Hoomer were seen in public. Just remember that.
Well, so you're hinting it's a good thing.
I'll tell you what, of all the places they could have been in the United States of America, it just so happens that they were in the city that now the National Guard's been called into.
So having the National Guard there right now with that connotation is probably a good thing. That it's like a war of forces going on behind the scenes right now.
It's like a silent war is being fought.
Because that was one of the, I remember we spoke momentarily about it. It's like possibly it's being used to round up. I mean, this is the most optimistic view of it, right? It's being used to clean up the swamp, right?
Yeah.
It's the cover to clean up the swamp. I've heard this a lot from the Q guys, and I want it to be true. I do. I'm kind of a skeptical person, but I don't really have anything to back up my skepticism. I'm just skeptical. But yeah, I would love for that to be true.
To me, it seems like the obvious motive for creating an international situation like this, that disinformation would have to be necessary, that the scare tactic would have to be necessary. But then these are all things that, 8chan, 4chan and 8chan have been saying for the last 24 months. And they're literally on a Delta timeline coming to fruition on said days that they're saying these things are going to happen, as if it's already written, the script's already written. And then we're seeing massive
worldwide script. It's not just
the James Bond movie. So that movie's been put back to November. There's been a lot of premieres that have been put back to October and November, but there's another one called A Quiet Place.
Except for one, Roxanne, isn't it?
Well, there's a few,
very
but
special
this one's
film,
quite
apparently.
prominent. Yeah, it's called A Quiet Place 2, and the girl that stars in it is the same girl, Emma Blunt, that was the main co-star in Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon. And it's funny because 8chan always mentions Jason Bourne. It's ironic that she would be wearing what she was wearing. It sounds to those that don't look at this information, it sounds like a complete long shot, but 8chan always says to be aware of watching for Red Castle, Green Castle. If you see Red Castle, Green Castle, it's quite telling. The comms state that it's military ops underway, and that's like a way of curtailing national security, official secrets acts, and all sorts. And she just happens to be wearing red. Followed the news story of Kate and Meghan wearing red and green. So it's like I saw I saw that today and I just thought to myself, well, how ironic. They've just put a massive blockbuster back to November, but yet you push to the forefront Emma Blunt and the movie that she's in. And she said she wasn't going to do the movie unless her husband directed it. And she said he's the only person that could do it. It was really weird. It was a really weird interview. It was very whimsical, very Alice in Wonderland-y type of talking.
It looks like it's a post-apocalyptic movie as well, doesn't it?
It is. I saw the first one.
Dystopian.
Because I'm still yet to
dystopian movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have.
It was like Bird Box, but way better.
Right, so I think
was it good? Was it good? No, because we were saying we want to watch it.
It's good actors. It's good, well acted. It's well shot. It's beautifully shot. It's a little bit terrifying. So yeah, it's got all. If you're a film watcher who doesn't just watch films for all the little secret hidden things in there, then you would enjoy it. And if you're watching it for all the secret little things in there, there aren't as many as they usually are. So it's okay. I enjoyed it. Plus, I really like Emily Blunt. I think she's great. But but yeah, it's this. You're talking about this color coding when they color code things, and certain dresses mean certain things. I've heard lots about this. I've never got hugely into it, but I have noticed, things like red and blue and purple particularly seem to have significance.
Yeah,
I'm more into the more visual spectacles, like the Grammys, the Eurovisions, where they ride on beasts, come out as phoenixes. There's a lot of things that they just do repeated. They can't stop. They can't exactly. Symbolism will be there. There's certain things they can't help but do. Black and white checkered tile floors, right?
They can't seem to help themselves. They really can't seem to help themselves. So I wanted to move on to this briefly because I know that we've been going on air for quite a minute now. I wanted to ask you both what your feelings are towards vaccines. Noel, I know you're a parent yourself, so what's your ethos on this?
As someone who was heavily vaccinated as a child, and my father worked for the UN in charge of giving out large quantities of vaccines to very large amounts of people and animals, I am anti-vax. Marley got sick after her 5-in-1, the same one that was apparently giving people autism. I say apparently because I don't trust De Niro, and he was one of people championing that statement. Yeah. But she got sick. She got very coughy. Her personality changed a lot. She's still great, but she's very attention deficit, and she is always coughing. She's got like an old man's cough, like like that, and it's never gone away. And it came the same week. Otherwise, she's fantastically healthy. Like if all she got was a cough, I think I got lucky. If they were to release, so they were trying to get her to get a vaccine for chickenpox. I said, no way. I'm going to find a child with chickenpox. I'm going to rub her on that child. She's going to get chickenpox the way I got it. If they come up with a vaccine for coronavirus, I've already told her, Mom, I'm not letting you take her to go get it, because I am way more suspicious of that than I am anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not telling people not to get vaccines. I'm just saying, motive wise,
yeah,
what a perfect motive. Oh, this thing that's killing everyone. Oh, it's everywhere. You've just got to go get a vaccine, else you're going to die. At the end of the day, this thing already kills way less people than flu, so I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people concurring with what you're saying in the chat room, Noel. There's a lot of people that have got very, very strong opinions on this. John, what's your take on it? How do you feel about vaccines?
Definitely, I wouldn't take a coronavirus vaccine. And I'm generally not in favor of vaccines. And I have a cat, for example, and she got a vaccine when I first got her, and then since then I never vaccinated her, and I never take the flu shot. I never take any vaccines. So even though when I was younger, when I was like in elementary school, they did give us some vaccines that were supposed to be good, and I don't know, maybe they had some value, but vaccines today are maybe even back then, I don't know, but my opinion is that we should be very careful about them.
Yeah, and I said there's a lot of people that are concurring in the chat room. Pat said, yeah, agreed, Noel. And good vaccine is a dead vaccine. People saying just say no to the vaccines. Someone else said I wouldn't take a sandwich off the government. Well said, Kieran. Don't inject the poison. Watch Contagion 2011. Very, very similar to what's going on now. Thank you very much for that. Someone said here, not had a vax for 9 years. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are concurring. Thank you, Dee Dee, for the eruption there. Dee Dee's number 4 as well. Dee Dee's someone that
I've not had a vax for 30 years.
Would I be right in assuming we all have these little scars on our arms?
Not me. I'm proud to say I don't. That's one
never
thing
had one. I got one on my leg as well. I don't know what it was for.
BCG, isn't it?
BCG, yeah, something like that.
BCG?
Shout out to
It's for tuberculosis, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't have.
I remember it, man.
No BCG.
I remember when they went round. They gave you the thing on your arm, and if you reacted to it or if you didn't react to it, I can't remember what it was. But I remember I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get one because I wanted to feel like the man, you know. Everybody was getting these scars, and I wanted a scar, and it didn't hurt that much. I mean, it hurt, but it was like it burned more than anything. I remember that. I remember.
Did any of you get meningitis?
Yeah, I did. I got the Coco septicemia one when I was 7. Was isolated.
I'm guessing we're about the same. Was it? Because we had the meningitis outbreak in the UK
just after Christmas,
again,
and I think I was about 7 years old. Probably.
Okay, you're a bit younger than me. This happened in Lincolnshire. This happened right by my area. It was all the schools were closed for a month. We didn't go to school for a month. We all thought it was great, but when we came back, we all had to get these vaccines. Not really much to report about it. I remember how everyone was crapping themselves because they were scared of needles, and I was really proud that I had no fear of needles because I was so accustomed to getting stuck when I was young.
Yeah, there was my friend's brother unfortunately passed away.
Oh no!
Yeah, he contracted it, and as a result, everyone was given the medication, myself included. Everyone that had contact with him or the family was given the medication, and I ended up getting it anyway. They took me into Roehampton Hospital and they isolated me in a quarantined room. They masked up my parents, and at that point, my dad refused them putting any more medication into me. I was only 7, 8 years old at the time, and that was in there for days. And the only thing my dad would let them put on me were fans to keep me cool. And I was given water, and I recovered perfectly. I was fine afterwards. Nothing came of it. I was extremely unwell, and for me, I felt like I was hallucinating. I was hallucinating a lot. I remember thinking crazy things at the time and not being able to think properly or do anything properly. It felt like the flu times a million. Like it did feel like if it was any worse, I couldn't handle it. And then I bounced back. But my parents didn't have. I was born in 81. My parents didn't have me vaccinated at all the way through school, right up into my BCG. My dad signed paperwork with the school to make sure that wasn't. They were adamant, annoyingly at the time, adamant, because it wasn't a thing at the time, and it was like my parents were treated as this couple that just wanted to be awkward. It was like, I've become an awkward couple, don't touch my child kind of thing. Don't give her any medication at school. They would always
still
sign
treated as awkward.
Yeah, everything that they could sign to say no, that's what they were doing. My mum wouldn't even let me use, at the time, a lot of us girls like to get these like little impulse sprays. They were like perfumey type of sprays. They were like little thin cans of impulse, and every girl had the vanilla one or the musk one or whatever it was. And my mum, I had one, and I bought it, and I brought it home, and my mum chucked it in the bin. She was like, "You'll not be using any of that." She was like, "That gives people cancer."
It was full of aluminium, whatever, was it?
Yeah, she wouldn't let me use any kind of aerosols or anything. So they were like really adamant about stuff like that. So I'm pretty skeptical about vaccines. Both of my children aren't vaccinated. None of them have had vaccines. My daughter's now 17, and I bypassed her BCG, and I'll be doing exactly the same. And it was a bit of a kerfuffle with her school. They tried to make out that she had to. She phoned me freaked out, saying that they weren't letting her out of the room until she had the injection. So obviously I went in there and read them the riot act and removed my daughter from the building.
Nice.
Had arguments, and she's still going to the school's sixth form now, so everything's fine. But it's like they do authoritarian scare tactics, like they try to behave like the police and tell you that you don't have a right to tell them what to do, kind of thing, with your own child.
Here in Tenerife, in the Canary Islands, you won't get your child into any school or preschool unless they've had all of the vaccinations.
Same here in Malta.
Yeah. See, they are doing it different in some countries, aren't they? They really are. I
You
don't know
can't
what to make.
homeschool here either. They take the kid from you.
I mean, we all know that there's the common law
Here-
aspect and the birth certificates and the whole care of, what is it? Duty
That's
of
quite key, actually, Noel.
Here
No,
in
that you can't homeschool. You can't. They'll take your kid from you if you homeschool. So you have to get
Makes
your
me
kid
dumbfounded
vaccinated.
with that. I'm
Yeah,
dumb-
exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
I'm dumbfounded with that. That's insane. That's where we are with things then. Yeah. Is that honestly where we are with things?
And you
Another
live in a
Italian friend.
democracy.
Yeah. Is that another Italian
friend?
friend?
Yeah, I'm in quarantine.
Sono in quarantino. Okay, I'm in quarantine. So we've got reports that the whole of Italy has been locked down. The entire country locked down.
These
Sorry,
friends
Rick.
of mine are in Torino, which is in the extreme north, on the border of Switzerland and Austria and.
Well, that's actually Austria
France.
shut its border to Italy as well in non-water in peacetime conditions. Austria shut its border completely. Go for it, Rich. Oh, and
Hey,
sneeze.
Sneeze. I was going to sneeze. I sneezed once, and I was going to sneeze. Normally, if I start sneezing, sometimes it goes into a sneezing fit, and I'll sneeze about 20 or 30 times. But yeah, now I've forgotten what I was going to say.
What, Ricardo? What's there in the USA? Mandatory. It is here in the USA. Mandatory.
Oh yeah, because they just Pfizer or something just managed to get through because they had like some win a couple of weeks ago where some state had said, yeah, we don't have to get mandatory vaccines, and then they managed to flip it. That now basically, yeah, it's mandatory vaccinations, which is a terrifying prospect.
Here in my country, they do it, but they have to let the parents know, and the parents can object. They're gonna tell the parents, okay, we're vaccinating, we're doing this, and the parent can object. Whether the objection always works,
actually stops
I don't know.
Yeah,
but, that's how it works here.
That's what I was going to say. We live in a democracy, ladies and gentlemen. And if you live in Malta or Tenerife, you don't get your kid. You have to get your kid vaccinated, no matter what you believe or what you think, no matter your religious beliefs, nothing. You have to get your kid vaccinated, and it's a democracy.
That argument that the sheep constantly repeat, oh, by not getting your kid vaccinated, you're endangering my child. Is your child vaccinated? Yes. Then how is my unvaccinated child endangering your child? It doesn't make any sense.
Am I endangering people because I'm not vaccinated since my tetanus booster? That was the last time I got any kind of.
I'm not either. I'm not vaccinated either. Guys, can I just get into the chat room because we've got quite a few people in the chat room. I just want to give everyone a shout out. Lifting the lid, lovely to see you. Jane of Torquay still there. Martin Ellen, peace loving criminal. Ninja Man, lovely to see you. Tomashino still there. Joe Mama, Stephen Bally's there as well. And Dee Dee, Ivan Phillips, Jane of Torquay, First Munch, TYY, Kieran, Black Sheep Researcher, Sun Mal, still in the chat room. Lovely to see you. Astral Thief. And Adam Forrest, Martin Ellen, Adrian Marcus, Karen B, my darling, lovely to see you. Disarrayed is still there in the chat room too. Stan Smith, lovely. I would move. Yeah, me too. I would just move.
I can't.
You see, and then there's those that are not able to do that.
I cannot. The mother's here. She won't leave, and I'm not going to separate my daughter from her mother.
Oh, correct.
Steve Bailey, very quickly. Edge of Wonder may well mock the flat Earth, but everyone mocks the flat Earth at first.
Yeah.
Owen Benjamin. I was very into that guy, and I watched him mock the flat Earth for weeks, knowing full well within 6 months he would have come around to it.
And he did. He did.
I knew it
we
was
all
coming.
love a bear. We love a bear. We love bears out here. We do. We really do. The one thing I wanted to say is while we've got all of this going on, while we've got a whole country locked down in peacetime conditions, Trump's gone on record today saying, yeah, the coronavirus is going to go away. It's just going to go away. It's going to go away. It's fine.
That is interesting.
Nothing to worry about. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. It's going to go away. It's all going to blow over. Everyone's going to be fine. Stop worrying. Calm down.
I get more laughs from that guy than anyone at the moment because since comedy died, comedy completely committed suicide 4 years ago. Trump is now my favorite comedian, followed shortly by Owen Benjamin.
He said the coronavirus will go away and urged Americans and everyone else in that fact to remain calm. He's like the face of calm in a sea of hysteria internationally on mainstream media.
Was it a tweet?
What do we make of this?
Was it on a tweet or did he say that?
He said it, boom, live, like I'm talking to you.
He said it live.
Yeah, he said it like out of his mouth. He said it's going to go away. Meanwhile, the National Guard's been called into New York to tackle it. It's fine. It's not a problem. Just going to start calling the National Guard in. But honestly, it's fine. It's going to blow over. It's going to go away.
Oh, I really hope they arrest Hillary and Hoomer. That would just make my week.
It makes my day because
they're going to detain Hillary first. They'll detain her first.
I've always said I've felt that this is something that's far bigger going on. Whatever this COVID-19 thing is, it's the guise for something that's far bigger going on. And they need us scared for a reason. And I don't want to be disinformative. Wash your hands, keep good hygiene, and be clean. As my mum used to say, cleanliness is a part of godliness. My mum used to say that. Oh my goodness, the memes have started already. What does it say now?
When you start seeking the truth and realize this descent down the fathomless rabbit hole is infinite. And it's a little boy realizing how long the slide is. So I want to stop.
It's infinite.
I wish I never looked.
It's infinite.
I never looked.
It's infinite. It really is. I'm sorry, I've just lost the chat room there as well. I've just literally lost the chat room. I'm so sorry. I was about to start reading out comments after Noel said that, and it's just gone. Must be the only two who are in on the own. Thumbs up if you see it, lol.
Oh yeah, Brexit forever. The first time I have ever owned and waved a Union Jack in my entire life was when Brexit finally happened, and I had a wonderful NPC experience where a Maltese guy called me a racist whilst I was stood with two black guys.
No.
Called me a racist for waving this flag. Like he had been programmed that waving a Union Jack was a racist thing. And I was like, wow. I mean, I've lived in the UK a long time. I may have never waved one, but I never thought it was racist. But yeah, he flat out called me racist, wanted to fight with me over it.
Racism seems to be a big thing amongst like the offense tactic that people use in their attack.
In their projection.
Yeah.
In their projection attacks.
What's your take on that, Rich?
Yeah, my take on that is exactly that. It's projection. It's because these people that I mean, not all of them, but I think a very, very large majority of these people that are involved in attacking people who are just trying to speak out, and they're accusing them of all kinds of things like racism and transphobic and homophobic and all the different labels that get chucked around. The person that's chucking those labels around is the most guilty the majority of the time, because it's projection. That's what narcissists do. They project themselves onto everybody else because they can't think of anything but themselves, and they know exactly what they're like, so they expect everybody else to be like that as well.
Indeed. And
it also diverts attention from themselves in a strange way. It diverts the negative attention off themselves, and they perceive a positive attention for bringing it to light that, you know.
So I want to I want to shine a light on this again, guys, because this is something that's very, very real. I just want to, for everyone that's just tuned in, I want to go through what's going on just now internationally. Everyone seems to be affected in some way, form or other with whatever retrospective country they're in. What we're seeing going on with Italy right now, and I'm not someone that buys into what the media is telling me. What worries me is what the narrative is putting out there, because borders are closing, countries are shutting down. Obviously it's going to, the COVID-19 thing is going to blow over. I did put a comment on the screen that I thought was quite good there from, who was it from? Major Facepalm, saying that, yeah, this is a good way of getting everyone off the street so they can move things about in plain sight without causing mass hysteria. I know you didn't say without causing mass hysteria. I'm popping that bit on the end of it, but That makes sense to me. And Trump saying it's nothing to worry about, it's all going to go away, that just confirms a few things to me, because if we are fighting a silent war, then the COVID-19 thing isn't the thing that we should be worried about. If the borders are closing down for whatever reason they're saying, if National Guard are being called in like they've been called into New York, these are things that we can take as a self-evident truth. Whether we know someone that's going to die of COVID-19 or not, whether we can see that there's supporting evidence for that, there seems to be a lot of supporting evidence for borders closing, countries closing, people being quarantined. Noel is texting his friends in Italy as we speak and getting responses from them saying they're in quarantine.
If he wants to come on and speak.
Awesome. So we're talking to people that are inside the lockdown region, which is not just a region anymore, it's a country. We've got hard border closures in a non-hard border Europe. We've got things that are absolutely unprecedented going on in modern times. Well, as you said, Rich, very poignantly, in modern recorded times, like observably flat. What are we to make of this? Because where I am in the UK, they're being very blasé and contradictory, all within one sentence. They're starting a sentence by saying you'll probably know someone at the end of this that'll have died of it, but we're going to keep the economy working as normal. Just go to work until you're told not to. Just go to school until you're told not to. We've got someone in the chat room as well saying the first case has been reported in Oxford. Another case has been reported in Hertfordshire. There's like spots coming up all over the country. I'm going to be going to speakers.
5G has gone live in those places.
Hmm?
I'd be interested to know if 5G has gone live in those places, because that's one I'm really wanting to get out of my head if it's not true.
Yeah. I feel like the hotspots are popping up all over the country because they're about to, an island. There's not as many people on this island as there is in Italy. If we look at Italy like a test ground, and we've got people on the media saying, pay attention, players, play your part. World Health Organization telling countries, do as you're told.
My friend has agreed. Let's see if he actually clicks through.
Awesome.
Is this to come on? We're going to get your friend on the...
He said okay. Yeah, he speaks fluent English, so if he does, that'd be great. Let's see if he does. I have no idea what it is.
Even if you've got another device and you can Skype him and there's just an audio, that's absolutely perfect. Because it really would be cool to get something other than the narrative that's getting out there. Because we're all, as you guys know in the chat room, everyone's extremely skeptical of mainstream media, enemy of the people.
I'd just like to say, Noel, I'm extremely jealous of your setup there, mate. I'm very jealous of your setup there. It's extremely nice.
Thank you very much. A long time on eBay looking for the cheapest of everything, because I can't afford anything since I had a little girl.
We've got a saying for that, Noel. You know what our saying is for that? We call it champagne taste, lemonade money.
Lemonade money.
All day long. All day long. No, shout out to you.
I don't buy anything for more than I can resell it for. So, should such a crisis that is apparently happening right now occur?
Yeah. Oh, and another thing that's been said into the chat room as well, Pat Riot as well. Thanks for all of your input this evening, Pat. The Pope meeting world leaders on May 14th this year connected. Well, the Pope's there's a lot of events going on right now to empty or no audiences, locked doors events. There's sports events going on to empty audiences. The Pope's just given his talk to a virtual screen to no one. What do we make of this? Do all of these things seem connected to you guys? Look at all the CEO walkaways we've had within the last 4 weeks. Some of the biggest
that fits with your theory about Trump.
Walking away from millions.
Walking away from their pensions. This is what people need to really appreciate. They're not just walking away from their jobs. They're walking away from their pensions, their golden handshakes, all of these. They're walking away from millions.
Who does that, guys? Who does that?
And I just want to say a quick shout out to Kay as well.
Awesome. What is the motive for walking away from $1 million pension packages? What would you have had to have done in your life to go, do you know what? Fuck it, I quit. I just quit. Don't worry, I don't want anything. No, whatever. Even the pen, take it. I don't need it. It's no. Just give all my stuff in my office to my secretary.
I'm wondering, Rox, if they're being given the opportunity to jump before they're pushed, and you know, it's like, look,
some of the biggest corporations,
away
Rich.
from, you can walk away from
Uber Eats,
everything,
IBM,
and we might consider, you know, that they might be saying to them, look, if you don't walk away from your jobs, if you don't walk away from these positions, that's it, that's the end for you. But if you walk away, maybe there might be some, you know,
French government, even Trump's government. We've got Getz, Cruz self-isolating. We've got high-ranking members of the French government all self-isolating. What's good with that? Self-isolating. We've had someone that was on Air Force One with Trump yesterday, handshaking, having isolated today. And Trump's going, no, I'm fine. I don't even need a test. The medical guys and the thing said, I'm fine. I don't need no test. I just don't need no test. Thank you, that fellow. I would urge, I can't take my super chat off. I hate my super chat. I hate Google AdSense. They don't like me. I don't like them. We fell out a long time ago. And I'm gonna have it out with Google AdSense because me and them are at war. So I'm gonna start putting a disclaimer on the bottom of my screen to please not use. I'm so sorry, that flat fellow. I'm not gonna be able to get that $1.99. I did say on my last few lives to just stay away from the super chat, but because now it's there, I can't take it away. And they've just been nothing but a nightmare since I've moved. So I would love to actually make a piece of content and just put them on blast, which I might do one day. I just don't know if that will get my channel taken down altogether.
We do have,
you know,
there are PayPal links. There are PayPal links. If anybody would like to donate, there are PayPal links.
Yeah, cool. If you want to donate,
so.
If mine doesn't work, I don't know if mine works. I don't know if it came out properly, but it's in my about section. But yours is there, and mine's in my about section. So if you
we might
thanks, but no thanks. Oh God, no! Don't use this. Don't use the super chat. I love you all dearly, and if you send me a PayPal, I will give you a shout out. I will get a notification that something's gone into PayPal. But yeah, that's your option if you want to support what I'm doing. But I'm not asking you to support me. I just want to make that clear. But I did put the link there because a lot of people, like Ranty said the other month, that you know, if people choose to tip what you're doing, you should give them the access to do that, but not ask for it. So I'm not asking for it, but the option is there for you to do that. But that's not what this is about. It's about the truth, and the truth is free. It's free for all. And again, I want to remind you, I'll be at Speaker's Corner this Sunday, Hyde Park, London, from midday onwards, live streaming, talking about all of these subjects as well. So I won't just be doing this online. I'll be doing this out on the street later on this week while the social distancing is not in act. So that's something that I want to get to again, guys, because as I said, Noel's talking to his pals in Italy. I'm sitting in London where this whole scheme is coming together. And if I can pass the mic over to you, John, or you, 007, while I just quickly go and get the information that I was going to try and show everybody about what's going on in the UK. If I can yield the mic, I can see Noel's just off camera there. I think we're about to line up his pal.
Yeah, John, I don't know if you want to say anything.
So,
all I can say about it, to summarize, maybe is that I was when it all began, I was sure it's going to be just another like those cases when we had the mad cow, the swine flu, the SARS, and all these Zika and all these other things that Ebola. I was sure it's just going to be another episode and just forget about it. You know, I wasn't really paying attention. But now, with all this mass quarantine all over the world, and this is real.
Spain's done it as well now, John. Spain's done it as well. Spain's now banned gatherings of more than 1,000 people. Madrid, you know, where the wine growing region is, 2 areas in the northern Basque country, while all La Liga matches, and this is what I was saying about sporting events, all of the La Liga matches are just going to be played behind closed doors. End of story.
And I'm wondering if it has to do anything with the chemtrailing, the things that they're spraying even here. Maybe it has to do with it. Maybe it doesn't have. I don't know. But
they've talked about they have actually talked about they've even made films or documentaries, I think, about the possibility of spreading a pandemic through aerosol spraying in the air.
They're saying that 6 people have
anything's
died
possible.
in the UK now. We've got 6 deaths in the UK from COVID-19.
What are their names? I want
We're
names.
not getting any names. We're just not getting. We're getting confirmed cases in every region. So we've got London with the most cases so far. They've got 91. We've got Southwest down Devon and Cornwall way, 41. Down near Bournemouth and Brighton, right up towards Birmingham, we've got 51. Over in Wales, they've got 6. Up in Scotland, they've got 27. Northern Ireland, they've got 16. Over near County Durham and all those ways near Hull, 24. Over
24 near Hull?
Yeah. 37 over on the Manchester side of things, and 29 over near Norfolk. There's nearly 400 that have tested positive in the UK now. I'm saying the narrative. I'm not telling you that. I'm just letting you know what we're being told. Yeah, just so that everyone knows.
Would you guys, if you find yourselves in a situation where you're being tested, trust the results? Like,
No,
I presume we all assume that the medical professional in front of us isn't lying. They're doing a test
I'm
and
like
it's
an
giving them a
auto
result.
hoaxer saying this, but honestly, I'm so skeptical now because there's so many continuity mess ups. I'm like, crikey. I feel like,
especially if you're not showing any symptoms.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not showing any symptoms, and they say, "Oh yes, you've got COVID-19." Really?
Belgium, Dee
Really?
in Belgium. She said they've just announced in Belgium that the same thing's happening there. Gatherings over 100,000 people. It's not
1,000.
happening. Yeah,
1,000, not 100,000, baby.
Sorry, my darlings. Sorry. Lifting the Lid said definitely a staged couple on TV tonight saying how they're making the right choice to self-isolate. So there we go.
Is this in England?
Yeah.
They're stopping us talking, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, that means we must be having an effect.
Yeah.
They're afraid of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are they?
There's so many connection issues on my side of things.
The
Can you
thing
guys
is-
still hear me properly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Good job. Someone's saying here the army will be in soon. I think they're already making the preparations for that. If I'm being
I'm
honest.
actually expecting them here on the island in the next, what's the date today? The 9th.
It's the 10th
So in the
today.
next like 11, 12. Yeah, I mean they're going to start showing up pretty soon because we've got the this disaster simulation.
Oh yeah, can you refresh our
occurring from the
memories with
21st
this?
to the
Because we did
25th.
talk about this about a week ago. Can you just refresh our minds about what's going on the Canaries? You couldn't make this up. Amongst the Defender Europe, that's already ongoing. There's this as well.
So a few years ago, now don't quote me on this because it might be 2013, but I think it's 2015. Actually, the year that I turned up here on the island, they had a series of 90 volcanoes that around Tady that only like, but not volcanoes, 90 earthquakes around Tady that made them think about
Thank you
what
all
the
so much
island
for
would
taking
do
the time to be.
in a disaster situation. So it's scheduled for the 21st of this month. They're going to be from the 21st to the 25th. They're going to shut the island down definitely for 2 days.
Goodness.
Shut the airports and everything down for 2 days. And
this coronavirus thing's happening at the same time, bro. This is mad.
There's going to be military operations
ongoing.
occurring. I think there's going to be military on the streets. There's an interesting map that was provided with the key with no key. That's got various different symbols on it dotted around. One of them is close to my house, actually, close to my apartment. And I think that it might be the port that's here. The sort of, I say it's an unofficial port, but I don't know officially if it's an unofficial port. It's certainly not a commercial port. It's not something for passenger, for cruise liners or the ferry doesn't come into the ferry from Gran Canaria doesn't come into this port. It's not for people, and the industrial estate that it's connected to is the one that me and my ex-girlfriend tried to go and drive around, and we were stopped by there were 6 police officers all looking very nervous about the fact that we wanted to go in there. That was a couple of years ago. But
it's just insane that they're doing this they're doing the military exercise while this whole charade's going on with the lockdowns
whilst
internationally.
Defender 2020, whilst Defender
all
Euro 20
simultaneously. And then we had that, as we spoke about earlier on, that simulation of 201 as well. It all just seems a bit iffy. It still seems a bit iffy. It still seems a bit iffy. All of it. It just all seems a bit. Yeah. Someone said they saw a convoy on the M5 the other day. I know it's just a convoy, but even still, I've seen increased military movement above my head, and I live under the southern runway of Heathrow.
If it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck.
Normally is, you know? So thank you for your thoughts in the chat room. I'm going to get to you in the chat room in a minute. John, were you about to say something?
Yeah, as flat earthers, I think we all...
globe deniers.
Oh, sorry. Well, well, I don't think being a flat. If somebody calls me a flat earther, I'm not.
Or you could say observably flat earther.
Well,
there is a trick in the title flat earther, isn't there?
Since we all have realized the truth after a long cognitive dissonance that we experienced, we kind of came to realize that there is most probably a creator for this world. So if there is a creator, we need to maybe also trust the creator also in this case.
Amen.
Amen.
Yep, agreed.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Carry on, John. Carry on.
Anything that happens, well, that's my belief. Anything that happens is the will. It's by the will, I would say, of the creator. So eventually,
can I just
go ahead.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, John, because do you know what? I was driving in my car today, and I have conversations with myself all the time, and with the Most High, and with what I think of as my higher self, and with my cheeky monkeys, which other people call demons or whatever. I call them my cheeky monkeys. I have conversations all the time, mostly in the car, and I was saying that I was actually talking to the cheeky monkey and saying, you know, it's really great, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, because it was intended for you to be here, just like it was intended for me to be here. It was everything that has happened has only happened because the Most High wanted it to happen. You set it
preordained,
in motion,
yeah.
And and as much as I say that we haven't lost our free will by destiny, by fate, you know, by our lives being pre-written. We haven't lost our free will through that, because we still maintain the free will to absorb as much of this life as we want while we're going through this journey, and we're playing the part that we're playing. We're free to perceive everything as we will, you know, as we ourselves. We're free to perceive it subjectively if we want.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to anybody?
A lot of people resonating in the chat room as well, Double. Yeah, thanks for that. I really feel like it does make people sit back and think about it for a second and think, you know what? I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think things just happen by accident and we just accidentally find ourselves where we are. When we look at the state of play internationally right now, when in your lifetime, of all the charades we've seen, the Gulf War, Afghan, all of that, when have we seen what we're seeing?
Even the other viruses, for crying out loud, the other possible pandemics that we've already mentioned, Ebola.
Oh, the list. When have we seen this going on?
It reminds me a lot of 9/11, resonates a lot. The situation that the world, I mean, not the situation, but the frequency of the thought that is all around us. It's like the same frequency that we had back then. So yeah, so you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, a lot of people are resonating in the chat room. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us. We've been going for nearly 2.5 hours, and I think to make it some kind of watchable length, we should bring it to a close right kind of soon. Because I've got my kids going nuts in the background as well, so I still have to money mode. But Noel and John, both of you, would you do me the honor of coming back on another time as well to talk some more, because there's other subjects that I really want to delve into with you and talk about in public. I've managed to get through a small fraction of what I actually wanted to talk about. I couldn't have possibly imagined that we would have had so much to actually talk about. Even I thought to myself, oh yeah, I reckon in 2 hours we could probably give a decent amount to this, that, and the other. But there is so much more that I want to peel back. I always equate it to baklava. Just when you think you know how many layers are in there, you look again and you go, oh no, there's hundreds. There's hundreds. There's days and days of it. I've also, as I said, had a recommendation from you now. I've reached out to someone else as well that's also a globe denier and completely awake to a lot of things that are going on. And I really love conversations like this because we've all come to where we are now from so many different avenues. And I'd love us to explore that more, because there could be people that are on the edge watching this on the outside going, well, now that I've heard those people talk about it, I might go and look into that. There could be so many things that people have still got cognitive dissonance to, things that you've looked into, Noel, things that you've looked into, John. So I definitely want to have you back, and I want to kind of shine the light a little bit more on things that you talk about on you shine a light on Instagram.
Be honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh, something with the connection?
Yeah, I think so.
That's brilliant. I'm thinking. She's still thinking. She's frozen in her thought.
In the UK.
I think we may have lost her. She'll come back in.
I had a friend who used to do that. She'd say, I'm thinking, and then she wouldn't move for about 40 seconds. But
I used to enjoy ending phone calls by saying, oh yeah, just before you go, I just wanted to say click. Back before digital phones or text messages or any of that. Back before mobile phones, I think, man. But yeah, gosh, she's gone. Okay, so I don't have any control over the stream because Rox is doing it she's hosting it from her laptop. I can't host.
It didn't die when she
I don't
left.
have a laptop.
So we're still talking.
Yeah, we're still.
No,
we're still going. So but the thing is, I can't stop the stream either.
Right.
So that's the thing. We have to.
It's got wings. It's just going to keep going.
Yeah, we just got to keep going, man. We just got to keep going. It's quite nice actually, because I haven't really said very much this evening, and I now I've got the microphone. I don't really know what to say because it's all been said. I've enjoyed the conversations that have been going on tonight because it's.
Anything either of you guys wanted to talk about that didn't get spoken about?
Probably there are a lot of things.
On this occasion, there's not really anything that I think we covered everything that I wanted to talk about today. There are plenty of other things, man. There's so many other things.
John brushed on something just a moment ago that I was thinking, oh, she's back. She's back. Hello.
There we go.
BT.
That was brilliant. I was thinking. You just froze then mid-thought. It was brilliant.
Listen, shout out to BT. I pay BT nearly 50 quid a month for their hub service. They claim to have a wonderful service. And yeah, it's not only just online this happens. I work from home, and the amount of times my internet goes down when I'm at work is horrendous. So shout out to BT for the love there.
Was a sarcastic shout out. So British.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they know they get so much love from me. They look forward to a phone call tomorrow from me.
Listen, women are the masters of passive aggression. The absolute masters of passive aggression.
Just as I was rounding it up as well, I was going to say I'm going to recalibrate get my kids sorted, but there is a lot of things I still want to talk about, and I know that this is 00's night off, so I want to take full advantage of his night off and carry on talking. I don't know what you guys have got planned for later on this evening, if you're still up for a bit. What time is it where you guys are?
It's midnight here.
Yeah, it's pretty late where you are. It's only 10 o'clock here, you see.
11 here, I think.
Yeah.
11.
So in about an hour, if I can recalibrate, there's a lot of other things that I want to shine a light on that are going on internationally. As I said, I've literally just scraped the surface just now. And we've been going for 2.5 hours. So in about an hour, if any of you are free and you want to come back on, I'm going to go possibly live in an hour's time again.
Send me another link.
Perfect, Noel. John, if you're still up, I'm happy to send you a link as well.
I think Rox keeps forgetting that this is a joint show. I'm going to go. We are going to go live.
We are, sorry.
In an hour or so.
We are going live in an hour or so. So yeah, I'll send you a link, Noel. And John, if you're up as well, please do come on back in. And I'm going to contact our guy that you sent me as well. I'm going to see what his schedule's like for later on as well, as I think he's behind us in time, actually, where he is.
Quite a bit, yeah. I can't remember which coast he's on, but he's at least minimum of 5 hours. It might be as much as 8.
So I'm thinking the later, the better for him. So maybe closer to midnight is a better option. So yeah, I want to just get back into the chat room before we wrap it up and give everyone a massive shout out. Tomasino, thank you so much for all your input. First Munch, BT, you're the last company which I would not touch with my husband and stick. Cheers for that. Yeah, a lot of people have told me that as well. James Aldridge, legends, nice one, Rox. Thank you very much. Peace loving criminal. Thank you, my darling. Joe Mama. Thank you, my lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Ninja Man. Lovely to see you in the chat room as well. 5 Artists, thank you so much for being in the chat room. Jane of Torquay, The Astral Thief, DeFranco, Salted Cedar, Adrian. Lovely to see you too. Martin Ellen, Tommy Rogers. Hello, Tommy. Thank you so much for being here. Amanda Panda as well. Ian Adams, TYY. I'm not sure what that.
Oh my God! What the fuck barbecue?
Oh, wow. Okay, they don't call me Billet for nothing now. That's brilliant. Cool. That's such a cool name. Lifting the lid, Robin, my darling. Thank you so much for all of your input into the chat room as well. Sun Mal, lovely to see you too. Dee Dee as well. All of your input. Major Facepalm, Reverend Hull, Salted Cedar.
Can we just I'll just pause you for a sec, Rox, and I just want to give a big shout out to all the people that aren't signed in, who aren't in the chat room. They're not chatting, but they are still watching.
I do have one on my phone as well.
Shout out to you.
I do have one on my phone. And Noel, I was going to say, if your pals in Italy are surfaced at any point and you still want to bring them in at a later point if you're available, by all means, you're more than welcome to do that. Levant as well, giving RV a shout out. I'll make sure that the link's in the description after for the video I showed you from RV. And he said, yeah, they're now reporting that 33 people have died in France. You couldn't make that up, could you?
33, really?
And that's what he said. You literally couldn't make it up. He said, yeah, go and have a look. The numbers are climbing. So yeah. I don't half natter. I do.
Amazing how they always pause and get reported at the point 33, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Big shout out, Solid Cedar. Good to see you again, man.
You know,
yeah, big time.
You know.
Big time. One Walking Life, Truth Seeker as well. Maggie Ray, thank you so much. Ivan Phillips as well. And to Paul from Newcastle too. As I said, we'll be back in about an hour. I'm going to send Noel and John a link as well. So hopefully the guys will be able to join us again. If you haven't done so already, please give us a thumbs up and pop a comment into the comment section below if there's something that you want to pick up on, you want us to pick up on when we go live again. As I said, I've got loads more to talk about. There's a lot going on internationally. If you see something, please say something. Get in contact with your international friends. If you know you've got boots on the ground in the retrospective countries that the narrative's going out, like Noel is, contact your friends. This is a good time to make communications with people you haven't spoken to in a while. Start making communications.
And take your phone and shoot it and share.
Yeah, if you see something, say something. As in, shoot it with the camera.
I was just going, shoot it with the camera. Don't shoot your phone with the camera. Yeah. That would be pointless. Use the camera on your phone.
My beautiful Dolly
Hey,
Daydream. She just said she just got off and she had 33 in the chat in the beginning. You couldn't make it up again. You can't get away from that number. Big hugs and kisses to you. Mwah. Shout out to Dolly Daydream. She's also another content maker as well. So if you're new to my channel and Rich's channel and you're watching this for the first time, she does some great content. So go over and check her channel out as well. Coffee Paul, lovely to see you in the chat room as well. And Lunderground, you're still there. Awesome stuff. If you're able to get to Speaker's Corner this weekend, come along. I'm going to be there this Sunday. And Tommy Rogers is still there as well.
To you guys that have been here for 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Soldiers.
Big up.
Yeah.
Big up to every single one of you, man. You are absolute legends.
Yeah,
thank you.
Big time. Another report of someone dying in Watford as well. So we've got people dying of this COVID thing. They all seem to be old people at the moment.
But
it's the flu.
It's always someone. It's always another person, but never a name. I want names.
This is what there's people on mainstream media saying that now as well, which I find quite interesting. There's commentaries on mainstream media saying
his name was John.
Yeah.
His name was John. He was 80, wasn't he? He lived down the road.
We won't give you the name because we want to protect the family.
Exactly. I'm getting connection issues again. So I'm going to wrap it up before the connection issues get any worse. To all 90 odd of you in the chat room, I can't thank you all enough. Sending you all love and respect. And thank you so much for taking the time.
To those of you on my channel, watching the stream on my channel, thank you very much for keeping the flag flying. Please, I want to try and get some more views on my one as well.
I can't tell you how grateful I am to all of you for taking the time to watch Noel, John, 00 and I have this conversation. Go on, Noel.
Actually going to ask John what his channel is, and I'm going to follow him now because I don't know.
Lovely. John, where can everyone find you online, John?
Well, I'm not a content creator at the moment, so I'm not really online. I'm not on Facebook, so I'm just on a...
Do you have an email that...
Yeah.
If anybody did want to have a chat with you? If you want to keep that on personal, man, that's absolutely cool. You're not a content creator, so you're not putting yourself out there to be contacted. That's the thing. It's great of you to come on here and put your face up.
I'm not yet at the Mark Sargent level, but this is my first time ever that I'm showing my face and speaking about all these subjects, and so maybe I'll take it slowly.
Dude, hat off to you, man. Thank you very much. Shiny face,
and 007, quickly, what was yours? So I do.
Mine's 007, mate. 007.
As it's spelled there?
You should be able to find. Yeah, if you click on my I should be speaking in there. Hang on, I'll go and say something in Roxanne's chat.
I couldn't figure out.
Oh, you're not in there. You can't click the link.
Really right.
Yeah, it's 007. It's 007. DOUBLEOH7. The same way it's spelled.
Have you got some kind of knight-looking character?
Yeah, like a assassin type.
Space. Okay, I got Assassin's Creed guy. Yeah, I got you. Cool. All right, nice one. We're in contact. I'll hear from you all in there. Then.
You're on mute there, Rock Starling. So you just gave us all of that mime.
Chat room. We'll see you in about an hour. Martin Lee, I see you in the chat room as well. Lovely to see you in the chat room. And Joe Mama, Ian Mattison as well in the chat room. And to anyone else I've missed, I'm so sorry if I've missed you. Jim Eldred, love you to bits. Thank you so much for being in the chat room. Billy Boy, Stephen Watson in the chat room. Jim Eldridge,
mate.
Spirit Level.
Big shout out to you, man.
And Lee Brogren as well, and King Kai in the chat room, Dolly Daydream, my sweetie pie, Ian Adams, Peace Loving Criminal, and DD Major Facepalm. All of you, massive respect. We'll be back in about an hour with loads more to bring you up to speed with. This has been Really Woke Reports Live with myself, 007, Noel Harry Watson, and John. Much love to you.